Basking in the sun. lifted an injunction against the state that was forcing it to use only the court-ordered map that was created by a special master in 2024. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
The Alabama Department of Public Health is reporting on sexually transmitted diseases here in Alabama. Montgomery County is currently at the top of the list for the most number of cases of an STD. In particular, the county has 83 cases of syphilis so far in 2026. The ADPH has launched several programs to address the issue, including an at-home collection kit for testing and a fast-track screening process at the county health department. Camp Selah in Abbeville has a whole new purpose in the state. The camp that was being used for troubled teens shut down a few years ago and is now becoming a training facility for law enforcement officers. The property was purchased with state money. I'm Andrea Tuss.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Paid for by McGinnis for Alabama, 203 Investment Lane, Summerdale, Alabama, 36580.
Hillary! Hillary! I'm really feeling my pain. I sure could use a 5-point plan right now.
I'm Christina Warner McKinnis, and we all need the 5-point plan for Alabama farms and families. Better food security. They should be able to buy Alabama rotisserie chicken with SNAP benefits, not margarita mix. Guide more farmers to the millions of dollars in grants they deserve. Protect our farmland from China and promote sweet-grown Alabama for tourism. We need more Alabama food on the plates of our schools and home. It's time to tell the politicians in Montgomery, same old is not working for us.
Christina Warner McKinnis for Agriculture.
I haven't asked the big guy yet, but I have a feeling he'll like the plan.
This 5-point plan is huge, very special. And believe me, I know the 5-point plan. And all the other 5-point plans are horrible, probably made in China.
A new year brings new opportunities, and right now the market is starting to shift.
Interest rates are beginning to come down, which means more buying power and more options for buyers who've been waiting.
If you're thinking about buying a home, this could be the moment to take that next step.
And whether you're buying, selling, or investing, having experience on your side matters more than ever.
At Hannah and Eddie Realty Group, we're also growing our team.
If you're an experienced agent ready to make a difference in this market and want to be part of a team that values knowledge, support, and results, call Hannah and Eddie Realty Group, where opportunity meets experience.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Welcome into the program, folks. I'm your host, Joey Clark. No Eddie Bader today because he's sick, which means he's at the beach. And we have Jared Hudson, candidate for the United States Senate, coming up after 1. But let's begin how we always begin on Wednesdays. We have the one, the only Jeff Poor joining us. Jeff, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. There's a lot happening, a lot of action. So what I want to touch on is the number of folks that are going to now run in this new Congressional District 2 that were running in your neck of the woods for, it'll be Jerry Cole running in the traditional seat. So who do you think is jumping over from that race into what Montgomery people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, obviously Rhett Marquez will, and he will start day one after qualifying as the front runner. He's done all the work. He's been running for a while. He's still got, I was talking to a lawmaker about this the other day. He's got to shift a Mobile Wiregrass campaign and turn it into a Montgomery / Wiregrass campaign. That's different media markets. It's not a terribly difficult transition, but I do think that the messaging has got to be a kind of revamped, and he's got to, we're going to be talking about River Region, not the port and I-10, right?
Right.
But he's going to have an advantage coming in, and he's in his back pocket. He's got Katie Britt's endorsement and a lot of her infrastructure with Montgomery. I think he's the front runner, but I don't think you could just coast to August 11th. I mean, let's think about this. And, this is all new, so probably not a lot of time spent on this. But May 19th comes and goes. You have some members of the legislature who win re-election or whatever. The general's a formality. This is conceivably a free shot on goal. That you could keep your office in theory that you're running for and run for Congress. You're at an all-time high with your name ID. You've been out there working. You've been out there knocking on doors. You've already been campaigning in at least part of your congressional district, potential congressional district. I think you're going to see crowded fields all across the board. I think that would even include Congressional District 6, which I know is in your listening area. Yep. The lines change on that. They're going to have to do a do-over there as well. The 7th, with someone running against Terry Sewell, not necessarily on the Republican side, but somebody on the Democrat side. What is Shamari Figures going to do? He, as an incumbent, will run. He will be able to raise a lot of money by virtue of being an incumbent. Where would he run? And the other thing you got to remember, you don't have to live in a district to run. You just have to live in the state. We learned this last time around with the second, when Anthony Daniels, Marika Coleman, Wanda Gavin, Jeremy Gray, a lot of guys who did not live in the district ran for that congressional seat. So legally, you could do that as well. And I think that this is going to be a fascinating few days after the primary. Once we have that settled, then you're going to have a lot of guys say, why wouldn't I? All I got to do is pay the qualifying fee. Maybe I can raise a little bit of money. If I lose, so what? I get to keep my seat, but I also get to go through the motions of raising my name ID, raising awareness. They want to deal with that. They just continue the campaign cycle till August for 6 weeks or whatever it is.
And for folks who don't know, after the primary on May the 19th, there's about a 2-day window for people to jump in and qualify?
Yeah, 3 days. It opens up on the 20th at 9 a.m. at Lorna Road in Hoover at Algop headquarters, and it closes at 5 p.m. on Friday on the 22nd. So you'll have 3 business days. Come up with the money, whatever the qualifying fee is, and you show up, get your picture made, sign some paperwork, and you're a candidate. Now you got to do all the FEC work, and but the politics of this are going to be wild.
Well, it looks like from that old race, Joshua McKee and Hampton Harris are jumping into CD2 as well, so we have them confirmed. And you're just saying that Rhett Marquez is just leaps and bounds ahead in terms of the polling and also the campaign structure.
I don't know about polling. I haven't seen any polling, but I think as far as fundraising, as far as having a team in place and having a campaign, he is light years ahead of a lot of people. I do think that. And I think he gets front-runner status right out of the gate. But I think he's still got a lot of work to do in the Montgomery market. He's got to sell himself to you guys. He's got to be on your show. I bet these guys are going to be blowing you up because their name ID, probably north of Troy, is 0, and they're going to have to work to improve that.
More radio dates. I'm so looking forward to it, as you can tell. Now, you mentioned this in general, but if there's somebody in this part, like a Montgomery-based guy or River Region-based guy, is there a name out there you're like, I would love to see that person run for Congress?
I don't know. When you start speculating like that, I would like to see some of these lawmakers take a shot at it. I just, for my own interest, can you run from the legislature to Congress? I guess Mike Rogers did it. Dale Strong ran from a county commission seat. Mo Brooks the same. Gary Palmer was a think tank guy. Adderholt he just was a young guy who ran back when he ran in the 90s. You look around, Terry Sewell, she was like a Birmingham attorney, I think. It's interesting because the thing about it, the bench isn't that terribly deep. With a lot of people that just come to mind like that who would be interesting to see run for one of these seats.
Yeah, and a certain gentleman called in yesterday. I'd love to see run is Dick Brubaker, where he took a stab at it the last time, and I'd love to see him throw his hat back in the ring. I've just always liked him and think he would be a solid choice. Now, the question is always, do you even want to do this? Because especially this sprint that it's going to be, pretty tight time frame to stand up a campaign.
Well, I think Brubaker is a fascinating choice because he did so well. Now he did terrible down in the southern part of the district, but he did very, very well in his home precincts against Carolee Dobson, and was a good candidate. Yes. And it presents, if it's Rhett Marquez versus Dick Brubaker, that is the guy who's critical of the legislature versus the guy who's running on his track record being in the legislature. That's a fascinating storyline to me.
Especially the guy who doesn't just criticize the legislature, but has plenty of experience and knows where I think a lot of the bodies are buried. And it would be a fascinating dynamic. I just don't know if Dick would want to do that. Even throw in, I haven't talked to him about it. But that name definitely came to mind. And just to make another thing clear here, we've been talking about the congressional elections and primaries, but the two Montgomery area state Senate districts were not included in this special election announcement by Governor Ivey. Is there still like a court thing involved here?
I would assume they intentionally left that out. There's some, but they're two different legal tracks. Milligan and the how it pertains to the state Senate seats. So that may be coming down the pike eventually, but it's not clear exactly that we just automatically get to go back to the legislative drawn map. I don't know where that's going to go.
Now, this is still running as a trending story there at 1819 News, and I saw Citizen Free Press pick this up. And I've been saying of late, and I guess I still love her, but Wanda Lingavan's rant against Clarence Thomas, my goodness, man. Don't get on the wrong side of her, but I also thought it was just, it's sad. It's like that's a predictable response, especially for black conservatives. You get it coming to you.
Yeah, but in her defense, I think she's just saying what the people in her district believe. Mm-hmm. I think, and as wrong-headed as it is, as incorrect as it is, she's going to have a tough election Tuesday. She's made a lot of people mad. She's got not only just kind of the state power structure, BCA and groups like that working against her. She's got the mayor of the mayor of Birmingham, who she's got sideways with. She ran against him for mayor, got trounced. But I get the sense that she's just kind of reading the room and playing to her constituents.
Yeah, perhaps. It's just, it's a shame. And as I was going over yesterday, one of my sidekicks made that point of like, this is red meat stuff, man. You got to throw it to them. So, but it just, I wish we can one day have a day where this isn't the reaction, but I guess we're still in that reality. Now on the Senate race, because this one's not going to be later in the year. This is May the 19th, this primary election. Trump reaffirming his endorsement of Barry Moore, and again later in the program I'll have Jared Hudson on. But again, Steve Marshall is looking great, and he doesn't even have to talk about his campaign for Senate, really. He can just talk about what he's doing to get these changes done. So at this point, how do you see the U.S. Senate race?
I had a guy named Sam Roberts on my show this morning. He runs a website called the Coleman Daily, but he's been running these polls online, scientific online polls and text polls. And he says it's very tangible out there that Marshall is getting a boost out of this. He believes, though, that Hudson's running somewhat of an insurgency campaign, that he is really, he's got the work ethic. He's showing up at events. He's really going to own the Birmingham market. And Sam told me this, kind of interesting. He said the Marshall and Hudson keep going back and forth. You know, one will eke the other out. It's going, but Barrymore has a lead. But he thinks if it's Marshall versus Moore in the runoff, then Moore has got the upper hand. He thinks that the way the numbers are moving, in a way, momentum-wise for Hudson, that you could see Hudson pull off an upset against Barrymore if it's a Hudson-Moore runoff. But Hudson's really his strength here, and it's two different elections you got to think about. The primary and the runoff and the turnout, but where Hudson really flexes his muscles in that Birmingham DMA, in that Birmingham TV market, he is running away with it. Marshall's getting a run for his money in it, but that North Alabama is kind of a Steve Marshall-y kind of place, and that Birmingham area is Hudson, and then everything else, Barrymore sort of owns the south end of the state, has scattered support around the state. But if you have a low turnout event in a Republican Party primary runoff where you're just absolutely dominating Birmingham, then you could potentially, if you're Barrymore, be a sitting duck.
Man, fascinating, because the game is definitely who gets in the runoff, and I've been saying it, like, Marshall is looking great. That makes sense, that confirming that he's getting a bump out of this redistricting effort, and Jared Hudson's been running an incredible digital campaign, and that definitely is bearing fruit. So I think it's going to be close on primary night, at least, on who gets that second place spot for the runoff.
I agree with that. I think that Barrymore will get a plurality. I don't think he'll get 50%. I think he'll get somewhere north of 35. That seems to be about, where the numbers are pointing to him. But the thing I remember about Barrymore, he always underpolls.
Mm-hmm.
He underpolled in his 2020 race against Coleman by a lot. That was literally a low turnout. Remember, it was a postponed runoff, and no one really knew what to think of it. But it just seemed like it was Coleman's race to lose based on the primary, and then Coleman got trounced. He stopped spending. Club for Growth came in. What will Club for Growth do is another question, because they're aligned with the Trump endorsed candidate. That's another aspect of this. And somebody's telling me this is really plugged in Washington, that Trump doesn't like to lose. Well, he's sitting on a big war chest. Would he come in and do some things, not only to help Barrymore, would he help John Wall? He doesn't need to help Tommy Tuberville. But just for the sake of not losing, did you see Donald Trump more involved in a runoff?
Yeah, and could that be spinning, or could that be like he does just some big event to celebrate a certain national policy? A great venue would be Alabama, where you get a huge cheering crowd, and you can say hi to Coach and say hi to Wall and Moore and others.
Yeah, and then you also have a fundraiser for these guys,
yep.
And you tell your donors, hey, you need to get to this guy. I mean, the Trump endorsement doesn't necessarily move a lot of votes. Where it does matter, I think, in this election cycle is we still have so many undecideds still at this late stage. That's where it matters. But the biggest part of where it matters is the fundraising. It encourages Trump big fish donors to go with the Trump candidate, but it also freezes out people who may have been looking to give to Jared Hudson, who may have been looking to give to Steve Marshall, and their donors are saying, I don't want to get on the bad side of Donald Trump and his political machine. I need to play this right.
Now, let's zoom out with the entire sort of congressional redistricting fight. Where do you think the midterms are now? Because when I look at the economic numbers with inflation going up and the war continuing, there's a lot of reasons to show, like especially independents, not loving what the Republicans have done, even though I think it's still a better choice than Kamala back in 2024. But with this redistricting, perhaps actually we have a shot. The Republican Party has a shot of holding the majority.
I agree. They got a shot. I still think it's a Democrat night. It feels a lot like 2022. And we expected big things from Republicans, but they didn't really perform up to expectations. I think just the circumstances, everything being so baked in, and Democrats not really having a message other than Trump's terrible doesn't really. I mean, Republicans ran on Biden was terrible. That didn't really generate the enthusiasm. There's a lot more anti-Trump derangement syndrome thing going on than there was Biden, but it feels like 2022, where Democrats are going to have these expectations. I think they're going to fall flat. I don't think it's a wave election. I don't think it's a 2010 kind of election. I don't think it's a 2006 or anything of that sort. I do think, though, it still should be a decent night where if I'm betting on it, more than likely you're going to see Democrats get control of the House.
And one more on something you said. Why is the undecided number still so high?
So this is something we talked about. I talked about the pollsters, and my theory is that we live in a new world. We don't live in we're all sort of doing our own thing. Mm-hmm. You don't have, you don't even have. It's not that you don't have three networks and three, news programs each night. It's that people aren't even watching like cable news, and they're so disconnected from the political culture that the old playbook. That I think, especially in Alabama, these campaigns are running on like a 2005 or 2010 campaign playbook, that they're not reaching voters. Something is keeping them from reaching these guys who are undecided, who are claiming to be likely Republican voters, but they're just, for whatever reason, the direct-to-mail isn't hitting them, the digital advertising isn't hitting them, that they're going around it. It's not resonating. It's not engaging these voters enough to even, not only to show up at the polls, but just to sit there and make a decision about who they would vote for.
Yeah, it is. It's a crazy time, and I think that the information environment. I think you're exactly right. Everybody's siloed off into their algorithm, and I mean, how do you reach the guy that just watches woodworking videos or duck videos all day?
Right, you're going to get woodworking, get duck video advertising, right?
Right.
You're not going to get the ad for Attorney General or for U.S. Senate.
And you better believe it, folks. There are people that watch like car mechanics all day on YouTube. That's all they do. And I mean, and the sky's the limit on the different varieties. So yeah, it's a fascinating new time. But I think you're right. My dance card is going to be a little busy here with this new shakeup of redistricting with CD2.
Yeah, and well, at least I guess Rick will get some advertising dollars out of it.
There you go. That's good news. Well, I appreciate it as always, Jeff. If folks want to check out what you're working on, how can they do so?
1819 News, 1819news.com, but x.com/Jeff_Poor.
Thanks, man. Talk again soon. Again, folks, Jeff Poor, editor-in-chief there at 1819 News and host of the Jeff Poor Show down at, 106.5 FM in the Mobile, Fairhope area. Again, 272-9228 if you want to jump in on anything we were saying. And in particular, is there anybody you're hoping to vote for? Like, I'd like to hear from somebody. Are you going with Jared Hudson? Are you going with Barry Moore? Are you going with Steve Marshall? 272-9228. Of course, we have Jared Hudson joining us a little bit after 1 o'clock. He'll be calling in because they're on the road today, which is fine by me. We can always do a phone call. And also, as we've been speaking, a big ol' hearing that has pissed off the CIA has been underway in the United States Senate. I believe the Health Committee. Rand Paul, the chairman of that committee, along with Senator Ron Johnson and Senator Hawley, they have brought in what they're describing as a CIA whistleblower. Now, the CIA disputes this, that this guy isn't a whistleblower. He hasn't gone through the official whistleblower processes and channels of being a whistleblower. It's like, wait, that sounds like a legal technicality. In fact, that sounds exactly like how Dr. Fauci was trying to get around the whole gain of function argument, that we changed the bureaucratic definition of gain of function, so even if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, we said ducks don't even quack anymore. So whatever we say goes. It's how they got around the whole idea that they funded it. Well, this is what Rand Paul has invited this whistleblower, in fact, not invited, subpoenaed this whistleblower to come talk about, of a cover-up from the earliest days that, as most folks know, Fauci lied. And a lot of people died. A lot of people. And it is remarkable that to this day, and Josh Hawley makes this point in the committee hearing, that if your elected representatives, especially your United States senators, can't get answers and we're, 6 years away from that event? Do you even have a democracy? I think the answer, Senator Hawley, is no in certain respects. That we have this part of our system that's a democracy, that is a democratic republic, but then you get to certain aspects of it, and it ain't democratic at all. It ain't even Republican with a little R at all. It's, it's untouchable. And perhaps you want people like that in this world, but when they use their untouchable power in the shadows to, say, cover up causing a worldwide pandemic that killed millions, perhaps you didn't make it a little more democratic. Anyway, 272-9228 if you want to get on the conversation. Let's go to line one. Who's this? You're on there.
Charles first.
Hey, Charles, what's up?
I thought I'd tell you who I was wanting to vote for and my reasons and stuff since you asked for it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I really like Steve Marshall, especially. I mean, he's never let us down, ever. He knows what he's doing. He's out to help us, and really like him a lot. I really am not thrilled with the idea of Jared Hudson just because of, you should ask him about his connections to, like, Tim Ballard that was with QAnon, all the different things like that, how many TBIs he's had. And all that I've ever seen that he's done is just... But
isn't Tim Ballard the guy that did Operation the Underground, like trying to do stings for kids that are being sex trafficked?
Yeah, and he got over in Utah after he left here, And the ladies that he was trying to get involved to pretend like they were Epstein women, like the what's her face that's in jail, about 6 of them said that they did not like the way that what he was wanting them to do, and sued and everything. I think they run him off or something.
No, I think he's still going. And Angel Studios made a whole movie about it, I think, with
I don't know. That was
Jim
the research
Caviezel.
I did about it. But I think I'd love it if you'd ask him some of these questions, because I'd hate for him to get it and then, people bring up these things and you get what I mean.
Well,
Now
you
we
want
are
me to
kind of
ask the
blindsided.
Navy SEAL about his traumatic brain injuries?
Well, yeah, I listened to him on Amy Beth and them shows earlier in his career of running for sheriff, and I don't know, I could be wrong. I thought he said he had about 7 of them. So, yeah, I'm kind of interested because we're looking at the other 2. We're not asking details about him. I mean, it's almost like, I don't know, like they might give him money because they don't want the really hardcore conservative persons to get in office.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to ask about the TBI because I've talked to Jared several times, and he doesn't come across as any more brain damage than anybody else running.
Well, I don't know. I just think it would be good to ask some hard questions of him, And you're a really good person to ask questions, so, he might be able to change my mind. But right now, Steve Marshall just has always stood correct, done the right thing, went forward in the nation as an attorney general, and I think that's who I want to back.
Okay. No, I'm cool with that. You can choose whoever you like. I that'll be interesting to see if Steve can get into, because I think the game is the runoff. Who gets in that runoff with Barrymore?
Okay, thanks for letting me voice myself.
Thanks, man. 272-9228. Again, that's 334-272-9228. And if you want to throw out there who you're voting for, especially in that United States Senate race, just give us a call. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out if you're just feeling wiped out. Not like yourself, lacking confidence throughout life. Could be in your work. Could be in just what you're doing day to day, including lacking confidence in the bedroom, which is no fun. You're starting to see unwanted weight gain, especially around the middle. That visceral fat's just starting to set in. And it's not like you're eating more than you used to. It's not like you're working out less. It's just you're exhausted and you're getting a little pudgy and you're never in the mood. And again, that confidence is shot. Well, why not get by Montgomery Men's Health? It could very well be a low testosterone problem, or maybe you have a specific issue with ED or PE, though, again, some of this can go to your metabolism and just your overall health. Perhaps that's why some of those problems are cropping up. Or it could be you don't really have like a big issue. Like you feel fine. Not like amazing, but you feel fine. Like you gotten used to it. Why not look into the peptides they now offer, like NAD+, which really help with mental energy and focus. Really great stuff they have going on there at Montgomery Men's Health. And the thing is, a lot of guys, in fact, most men, like 90-something% of guys who go in realize, I should have shown up sooner because this is really working for me. I wish I'd known this existed a long time ago. So don't procrastinate. Don't wait, gentlemen. Get by Montgomery Men's Health, powered by Men's Pro. They're a men's performance clinic here serving the River region. You can always make an appointment at 334-440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always book online in under 30 seconds at MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Montgomery Men's Health, for every man in every season of life. Be sure to tell them that Joey Clark fella on the radio sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
For many homeowners, there's untapped reserves hiding in plain sight. It's not in the savings account. It's not in the stock market. It's right under your roof. Now more than ever, homeowners are sitting on record levels of home equity, and that equity belongs to you. It can be used to consolidate high-interest credit card debt, to pay expensive school tuition, to cover medical expenses, to invest in renovations, you name it, because that money is yours. This isn't about taking on unnecessary debt. It's about using an asset you already own to improve your financial position position and your quality of life. The key is understanding your options and choosing the strategy that fits your goals. Let's see what's possible with the equity in your home. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether it's AC or heating or plumbing that you're needing, whatever you require, call Lou Choir.
With the seasons changing, your HVAC system is working overtime. Call Lou Choir today to schedule a tune-up with one of their expert technicians to keep your system running efficiently and reliably. Keep your home comfortable all season long. 24-hour emergency service available. License number 22154.
Call Lou Choir right now.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a man from outer space.
What's up, Earthling?
I see you've landed your spacecraft over there in that field.
That's right, man.
My question is, why have you landed here on our planet?
I came to see David Ernest.
The asset preservationist?
Yeah, man. I wanted to see if he would take a look at my portfolio for me.
Well, before you make the trip over there, call him on his toll-free number, 833-596-7233.
And I understand those last 4 digits spell out the word safe.
That is correct.
Funny thing happened the last time I came to Earth.
What was that?
I went to the Walmart, man.
Yes?
And I accidentally went in the back door.
How did that work out?
Well, they stopped me and very gently told me that I needed to go around front and come in.
And then what did you do?
I said, cool, man. Take me to your greeter.
You flew millions of miles just for that.
Hey, man, I don't ride them. I just read them.
A man who's done a fantastic job, Sheriff Matt Gentry. Thank you.
When Alabama families needed protecting, Matt Gentry answered the call. For nearly 30 years, as a Marine, a deputy, and now the Sheriff of Coleman County, he's stood between us and danger. Now, Matt is taking that same no-nonsense approach to the Public Service Commission to stand up for Alabama ratepayers and fight back against liberal green energy agendas that threaten our way of life.
From small farms to front porches, people deserve someone that will fight for them, someone who understands them and understands their struggles. I'm Matt Gentry. I'm asking for your prayers, your support, and your vote for the Public Service Commission.
Because Alabama doesn't need more politics. It needs a sheriff. Paid for by Gentry for PSC. P.O. Box 655, Coleman Avenue, 35056.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a series of storm-free days for the next several days. Tonight will be mostly clear, overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, look for plenty of sunshine with a high temperature right around 80 tomorrow. We'll be in the low to mid-80s on Friday, and nights will start to cool down. Thursday night down to the low 50s for the overnight low. But over the upcoming weekend, a touch of summer, 88 by Saturday, near 90 on Sunday, still mostly sunny. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray Publix.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now I want to jump into this COVID cover-up hearing, and let's kick off with Rand Paul's opening presentation and then get to this whistleblower as fast as possible. Here is Senator Rand Paul previewing, essentially, well, setting up the table.
The pandemic was one of the most consequential events of our lifetime. And to this day, the American people have never received a full accounting of where it came from, what our government knew, and why they had to fight their own government to find out. Today, the committee will hear from an intelligence community whistleblower about these questions. The witness will testify that the CIA scientific analysts repeatedly concluded that a laboratory leak was the most likely origin of COVID-19, and that those conclusions were buried, softened, or withheld from Congress while the public was told to trust a different story. For years, Americans were told to trust the experts, trust the agencies, trust the intelligence community, and trust the officials who assured us that they were following the science. But the evidence before the committee tells a very different story. Today, we will expose a system in which a small circle of officials, scientists, grantees, and intelligence advisors move from agencies to agency, meeting to meeting, briefing to briefing, reviewing one another's work and shaping one another's conclusions and presenting those conclusions to Congress and the public as if they were independent conclusions. Only it was not independent, it was a circle. One part of that circle is a body most Americans have never heard of, the Biological Sciences Expert Group, known as BSEG, or the B Group. BSEG operates under the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Its stated purpose is to give the intelligence community access to outside scientific experts on biological threats. Sounds reasonable, but not if those experts are not independent. For example, Dr. Ralph Barrick collaborated with Dr. Zhengli Shi in Wuhan to create gain-of-function coronaviruses. But Dr. Barrick was also part of BSEG and an active consultant to intelligence agencies on the origins of COVID-19 pandemic. Likewise, Peter Daszak received hundreds of millions of dollars from the U.S. government and worked with Dr. Shi also on these gain-of-function experiments. Daszak was even sent to China with the WHO to investigate the origins of COVID. So the very scientists that were commissioned to investigate COVID were, in some cases, the very scientists who were complicit in the origins of the gain-of-function experiments that may well have created COVID. In essence, the intelligence community pays researchers to review work and write papers. NIH funds their grants. The CIA then consults them and gives them access to classified information. The national academies publish their work. Policymakers then cite the result as a consensus. But it's a circle. At the center of the government side of this circle was Dr. Anthony Fauci. For years, Dr. Fauci was not merely a public health official speaking from the NIH. He had a long-standing relationship with the national security and intelligence apparatus on biological threats, dangerous pathogens, classified life sciences researches, pandemic preparedness, and COVID origins. Again and again, documents show him being brought into national security discussions far beyond ordinary public health messaging. During COVID, intelligence officials arranged for Dr. Fauci to review highly classified intelligence assessments that could not even be sent outside the White House complex. But how can Anthony Fauci objectively comment on a discussion of COVID origins when he approved the very funding that may have caused the pandemic virus?
And so much as this is known, it's good to hear it laid out again, all in one spot. So what's the latest? What does the whistleblower actually have to say? That's what I want to hear. Let's go to that guy, at least his opening statement. This is James Erdman III. Nice name, bro. James Erdman III. Testifies that, in particular, Dr. Fauci's role in the COVID cover-up was intentional. Yeah, well, with all the conflicts of interest, but what I'm worried about is this hearing is happening right as the statute of limitations runs out, and of course Fauci got that huge pardon that the Trump DOJ doesn't want to even try to challenge. Let's listen in. This is the opening testimony of this CIA whistleblower.
Good morning, Chairman Paul and other members of the Oversight Committee. Thank you for the complimentary introduction, and I appreciate the committee's dedication to transparency and accountability. I am a career CIA operations officer, and as you mentioned, I was on joint duty assignment at the Office of Director National Intelligence Directors Initiatives Group, or the DIG, between March 2025 and April 2026. I was responsible for leading the DIGS investigation into COVID origins, anomalous health incidents, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm here today to discuss the COVID cover-up, the national security implications associated with the DIGS investigative findings, and CIA refusal to comply with lawful oversight, as well as how we remedy these problems. Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the DIGS review. Intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in a cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20-plus years. Some of the scientists were part of the Biological Sciences Experts Group, or the BSEG, an office of Director National Intelligence Advisory Body, whose members often receive considerable funding from NIAID and public health agencies. The BSEG scientists influenced national laboratory WMD research, policy decisions, finished analysis, and other intelligence matters, creating misaligned incentives and conflicts of interest, as well as counterintelligence issues. Since 2006, the BSEG consulted part-time on biodefense issues for the IC, while conducting government-funded research and holding academia positions, as well as maintaining roles in public health institutions and serving as members in the National Academy of Science. They received funding from NIAID and other agencies for vaccine research, USAID's PREDICT project, the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, and even worked with Chinese scientists on coronavirus and other pathogen studies pursuing vaccines. There was no oversight monitoring how this web of relationships influenced research, policy, and public health in any holistic way for over 20 years. In fact, several of the BSEG scientists helped Dr. Fauci rewrite definitions of gain of function in 2015 to lift a funding pause on dangerous research. Still others participated in planning Event 201 in 2019. This was a coronavirus pandemic tabletop exercise, curiously similar to the events that played out during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was attended by Dr. Fauci and individuals with IC ties like former DNI Avril Haines.
So long and short so far is, well, it's what we suspected, but one of my main takeaways is that informal network of relationships, of connections he just mentioned, and how there was no oversight of it for 20 years. A good rule of thumb when it comes to power is power likes to hide. Real power likes to be in the shadows. Real power loves, instead of a formal institution and a formal committee and duly elected leaders and even working groups within the CIA and all of a sudden, what power loves is an informal network. It's the power behind the throne, so to speak. Because when nobody's looking at you, when nobody's willing to connect the dots, And you really, because you're working with classified information, don't have to tell anybody anything. You can tell them to go kick rocks. And you have that sort of authority and situation for 20 years. And it just so happens that the very thing you created is now causing this huge problem. You know, we should have experts in high levels looking out for weapons of mass destruction, especially bioweapons. Like, all these things are, yeah, there's no argument there. But what happens when your group, your committee, is corrupt and they are the threat? Now, the CIA is, of course, pissed about this today. And they're already coming out and saying, well, this isn't a real whistleblower, and this is all just being cooked up and contrived by Rand Paul and his Looney Tune wacko birds, to use an old school term from Fight With Me, My Friends, John McCain. But here's Bill Maloosia for Fox News kind of laying out what CIA been saying.
That we're getting from the CIA just now. They are not happy with the way this hearing is going down. They are accusing Senator Rand Paul and the Senate Homeland Security Committee of, quote, acting in bad faith in putting this hearing together. They say this witness in there isn't a whistleblower. They say he hasn't sought any whistleblower protections. They said he's in that room right now because the committee subpoenaed him, compelled him to come in and testify. And the CIA says they weren't given a heads up about this. The committee didn't go through the proper channels, and they provided Fox News a statement. It says in part, quote, the committee acted in bad faith by subpoenaing an agency officer for testimony today without notifying CIA, despite having already obtained closed-door testimony from the individual previously. The witness testifying today is not appearing as a whistleblower in pursuit of the truth, but instead in response to the subpoena issued by Chairman Paul. This proceeding amounts to nothing more than a dishonest political theater masquerading as a congressional hearing. As the CIA has already assessed, COVID-19 most likely originated from a lab leak, and efforts to undermine that conclusion are disingenuous.
Well, talk about disingenuous is that entire statement. So subpoenas don't ever demand the truth. Subpoenas are just, it's just political theater. And yeah, Rand Paul's not arguing about the lab leak, but he's wondering, where did the thing that leaked come from? Where did the disease come from? And the very people funding, encouraging gain-of-function research are the same watchdogs looking out against it. And the same watchdogs after this lab leak happens. Well, that's a cagey, to be expected response. So here is Senator Paul and Senator Ron Johnson responding to this in real time during that committee hearing. Got to hit a break in a second, but it really is frustrating that it's how long did it take them? And it shows who's in charge. The untouchable alphabet soup agencies or your United States senators? Let's listen in.
And that communication person, this committee, this chairman needs an apology. This is not political theater. This is serious oversight work. This is what the American people need to see. And I just wish our Democrat colleagues had any level of curiosity what's happening inside the deep state. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I completely concur. And I would also like to respond to the CIA spokesman. They say that we have already obtained closed-door testimony. Well, closed-door testimony doesn't provide oversight. Public testimony provides oversight. We have asked them for public testimony and for oversight. We would love to have the scientists, the 6 or 7 scientists that were commissioned to look at this, we'd love to see their report. Why would we not be allowed to see their report? I can't even read that in private. But that should be public, the science. If there are sources and methods, mark them out, redact them.
And that communication person.
And so, to be expected. Now, here's Josh Hawley putting the cherry on top. And I think the answer to your question, sir, is, it's not hypothetical. If this is going on, then we don't have this. Well, I think the answer is we don't have this. Let's listen in to the senator from Missouri.
So the United States government first deliberately violated a law passed by Congress, signed by the president, that ordered them to release all information related to the Wuhan lab, number one. Number two, they then violated the law again by withholding thousands and thousands of pages that they had at the time and knew were covered by the law. And number three, the conclusions, so-called, they released to the public are false. If that is not a cover-up, I don't know what is. And if our elected officials and unelected officials, in this case, in the IC and ODNI, if they can get by with blatantly violating the statutes of this country and lying to the American people, I'm sorry, but we don't have a democracy anymore. I don't know what it is, but it's not a democracy because we, the people, aren't in charge. These people are in charge, and they're lying to us every single day.
Yeah, it's called an oligarchy, and it's been running the country for quite some time, Senator, and he knows that. He's playing dumb. Amazing. Anyway, got to hit this break. We'll be right back after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. The 5 things to do when you are considering selling your home. Number 1, get a realtor to evaluate your home, and that will make suggestions on updates needed for your home, painting suggestions, and staging tips to highlight your home. Number 2, along with the evaluation of the house, you need an updated market analysis that compares your house to other houses for sale and those that have sold. Number 3, do a walk around your own home to see what you could do to improve the curb appeal to potential buyers. Since research tells us that 8 out of 10 home buyers choose the house that they view based on the curb appeal of the home. Number 4, review online the houses that have sold in your neighborhood to see how yours compares with the ones that buyers have chosen. Number 5, if possible, use a CRS certified realtor in your marketplace. For other details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
We know the businesses that keep our communities moving. We walk the same streets, shop the same stores, and support the same local families. Janney King franchise owners take pride in caring for the places they keep our hometown strong. With dependable service, attention to detail, and commitment to doing the things the right way, more businesses are choosing Janney King as their trusted local cleaning partner. Visit JanneyKingCleans.com today.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Real quick, I want to tell you folks, this part of the program brought to you by Invista Advisors. And they're at Invista. Austin Branco and the entire team. Of course, you've been hearing the chief strategist there, Brant McDonald, on these airways for years with Greg Budell. And of course, Austin is running the brokerage desk over there. So they can definitely help you on the investment side of the house. But they do more than just manage those assets, manage that stock portfolio. They can also help you with any sort of financial planning concern. Could be end-of-life concerns. And maybe, you're a widow and your husband was the one who really took care of a lot of the financial stuff. You need some help. Invista Advisors can help you. Could be you're just starting out with a family. You want to make a plan, financial plan for taking care of the kids, get life insurance set up. Or maybe you're more in the middle of life and a lot of your money's tied up in a small business, or you started managing a nonprofit that has grown in popularity and, well, you need a little outside help in actually managing that charity or nonprofit. Invista Advisors can do all this and much more. So if you're looking for their help, just start the conversation today at 387-0094. That's 334-387-0094. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. Coming up after another break here, we have Jared Hudson, candidate for United States Senate, joining the program. Looking forward to another conversation with Jared. And, well, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump is in China now for his much-anticipated summit with President Xi Jinping. The meat of their gathering doesn't actually get underway until tomorrow. He was warmly greeted today with a military band and hundreds of Chinese youths waving flags and chanting warm welcome. Those young people decked out in white and robin's egg blue outfits that matched the paint job on the iconic presidential plane. A burst of gunfire rang out in the Philippine Senate today, sparking chaos in the building where authorities had tried to arrest a senator wanted by the International Criminal Court in connection with a deadly government crackdown on drugs. Officials said nobody was hurt. It was not immediately clear who fired the shots today or exactly why. On Wall Street, it is a mixed bag. Oil prices down just a bit. The Dow is off 125 points, but the Nasdaq surging up 323. This is SRN News.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a series of storm-free days for the next several days. Tonight will be mostly clear, overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, look for plenty of sunshine with a high temperature right around 80 tomorrow. We'll be in the low to mid-80s on Friday, and nights will start to cool down. Thursday night down to the low 50s for the overnight low. But over the upcoming weekend, a touch of summer, 88 by Saturday, near 90 on Sunday, still mostly sunny. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Big dreams for your home on a tight budget? ASE's $26.26 as you covered. Unlock your home's equity with just $26 in closing costs. No fees, no headaches. Visit your local ASE branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 420259.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. The restrooms at Pratt Park are closed again due to vandalism. An investigation is underway after vandals trashed the restrooms at Pratt Park, causing more than $500 in damage. Bystanders at the Splash Park saw the incident Sunday and notified police. Video evidence from a camera pointed directly at the restrooms has been turned over to authorities. Apple is urging iPhone and iPad users to update to its latest operating systems to patch serious security threats. The updates address multiple flaws that could allow hackers to take full control of devices or steal personal information. Reports indicate hackers are using AI to exploit older software versions. Montgomery police are investigating an officer-involved crash that happened near East South Boulevard Tuesday night. The accident happened shortly before 9 p.m. when a car rammed into the back of a patrol vehicle. The driver of the car was transported to a nearby hospital in critical condition. The officer sustained minor injuries. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Paid for by McGinnis for Alabama, 203 Investment Lane, Summerdale, Alabama, 36580.
Hillary! Hillary! I'm really feeling my pain. I sure could use a 5-point plan right now.
I'm Christina Warner McInnes, and we all need the 5-point plan for Alabama farms and families. Better food security. They should be able to buy Alabama rotisserie chicken with SNAP benefits, not margarita mix. Guide more farmers to the millions of dollars in grants they deserve. Protect our farmland from China and promote sweet-grown Alabama for tourism. We need more Alabama food on the plates of our schools and home. It's time to tell the politicians in Montgomery, same old is not working for us.
Christina Warner McInnes for Agriculture.
I haven't asked the big guy yet, but I have a feeling he'll like the plan.
This 5-point plan is huge, very special, and believe me, I know the 5-point plan. And all the other 5-point plans are horrible, probably made in China.
Don't miss the River Region Healthy Living Expo happening Thursday, May 14th from 10 to 2 at the Shops at East Chase. From senior health to total wellness, it's all here and admission is free. Learn more in the Check It Out section at WAKA.com.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back into the program. And now, as promised, we have United States Senate candidate Jared Hudson joining us over the phone. Jared, how are you today, sir?
Doing good, hero. How you doing?
Oh, life is pretty good. Better than I deserve, that's for certain. It's something I got on top of my mind because I was just watching some clips from this hearing that Rand Paul is chairing, Ron Johnson there, Josh Hawley putting on a clinic of essentially all these folks that covered up the gain of function stuff that led to the lab leak that started this awful pandemic, which was, 6 years ago, which is insane to even think about. This seems like Josh Hawley made the point quite well that if all these folks can not follow the law, especially folks in the IC, do we even have a democracy anymore? This is pretty serious stuff.
Oh, dude, it's unbelievably serious. I mean, it's as simple as you got the foxes guarding the hen house. It's the dumbest thing we can do. And the problem is when we have elected officials that hand over their power to the bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy is able to stay in there and help make 50 years of bad domestic and bad foreign policy that leads to issues like what we're seeing now. Criminal enterprise taking over, launching a virus, funding it with tax dollars, killing Americans, and driving us into unbelievable inflation and cost of living. So, I mean, all of that stuff tied together. I'm glad they're taking them to task. I just hope something's actually done about it. I mean, back in the old West days, people would be lined up and shot for this or lined up and hung.
Yeah, absolutely. And they laid out how it was this group of a loose network that was essentially unaccountable for 20 years. And, power loves an informal sort of shadow it can hide under. And I just wonder how many more shadows we have in this big behemoth of a government.
Oh, dude, there's shadows everywhere. I mean, it's even like in this, Senate race that I'm in right now. You've got D.C. political outside groups dumping in millions upon millions of dollars into an Alabama Senate primary for your next Republican senator from our great state. And they're dumping it in behind career politicians, candidates that have already been in there, candidates that are bought and paid for, candidates that are going to do what the bureaucracy wants as opposed to holding the bureaucracy accountable and elevating the voice of the people on the national stage.
So you feel like being attacked by these, and definitely they love to operate from the shadows in terms of the money game. So you think those attacks are a good sign, let's say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, number one, I think I have about $1 million of attack ads against me of crazy stuff. That's the other thing. I'm a law enforcement officer that arrests and deports illegal immigrants. I've actually physically done that. I was just talking with my sheriff about it just a little bit ago at an event we were at up here where in Blount County, where I'm a deputy at. So all of that being said, some of the stuff they're saying is the most insane stuff in the world, but they spent $1 million on it, which tells me one thing. When you put $1 million bounty on somebody's head, it means they're valuable. It means they're close to the target. It means that they're afraid that, oh, we got somebody that we can't control that's going in there. And so, that's a good thing.
Now, as you continue to campaign, I know this won't affect your race, but what do you think of this recent Supreme Court ruling and the redistricting efforts? It seems like the Republicans, we have a little more hope for the midterm, especially in regards to the House.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one, it's hard for the guys who have been running the race in a couple of these districts. I think it's CD1, CD2, CD6, and 7 that are going to be all the ones that have to be, there's going to be a special election on August the 11th for those districts. I would encourage people to still get out and vote, right? Obviously, you still need to get out and vote and exercise your right to vote and be prepared to vote in a runoff on June 16th, but then also be prepared to vote again on August 11th for these congressional districts, because the Supreme Court made their decision when they did. Alabama said, this is what we're going with. I believe we're going with the 6-1 map, was what I got from one of the state reps today. I literally just talked to him. They're going with a 6-1 map, and he said, hey, a bird in the hand's better than two in the bush, and then hopefully we can go to a 7-0 map, down the road. So right now, it's a positive thing for the Trump administration. It's a positive thing for the Republicans, but more importantly, it's a positive representation for the people of Alabama, which are distinctly conservative across the board, as opposed to having these gerrymandered districts that would allow a Democrat district to exist just because we draw it around in a certain way.
So it sounds like you'd be all for a 7-0 if we can pull that off.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't we be? And we've had Democrats that have been doing it in states like, New York, even Virginia. Of course, I think Virginia just had something come down from their Supreme Court on them a couple of days ago. But we've seen it forever. New Jersey, I mean, we've seen this going on forever. And then all of a sudden, the first time the Republicans are able to do something like this, everybody starts pitching a fit about it. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No,
it would be a good representation of the state of Alabama.
I 100% agree with you. And, we would like our political parties to want to win. Maybe just, try winning. And
it's like this. I mean, it's like what Barack Obama just came out and said. He said, hey, we want to make sure that y'all are, that you're going to be a good partner, right? Or good, you're going to be good opposition for us. And he's basically asking us to be a bunch of pencil-neck, weak-kneed losers who are not willing to step in and say, this is the standard we hold to. We hold to less government and more of we the people, which is how the preamble of the Constitution starts off. The Democrats want the other side. They want more government. They want more control. They want more bureaucracy. They want to live in the shadows. And then all of a sudden, when they don't get their way, they pitch a fit and they cry like a Karen or like a toddler. And they say, well, hey, you've got to be nicer to us. No, that's not the way it works.
No, it's not the way it works at all. Again, we're playing to win these days, folks. And now as you're out there campaigning, what are the issues that are sticking, the issues that people just keep bringing up with you?
Bro, I will say the biggest issue across the state, not just that we see in polling, but that I see when I shake people's hands, because I've been to every county in this state talking to folks, is affordability. And it's affordability of energy, it's affordability of health care, affordability of housing. It is just regular families living life and not being able to afford their life. So groceries is the biggest one that people talk about. And, I mean, I get it, because when my wife gets back from the grocery store and I'm unloading the bags out of the back, I'm like, what in the world did we get for $350? You spend $350 at Walmart, and I've got a lot less stuff now than I had even a year ago or 2 years ago or, heck, 10 years ago when we had our first kid, or even 17 years ago when we first got married. Like, our dollar doesn't go as far, and that's impacting Alabama families. The easiest way to fight that is elected officials who are going to fight the dumb D.C. policies that increase inflation and overall cost of living. You do that by making sure we fix the housing market. Supply and demand is a big issue. Fix the energy issues. Unleash American energy so that we can have cheap, effective, efficient energy all across the state. And that is the biggest thing that we see going on. Stop subsidizing health care for illegal immigrants. That's one of the big issues that we have going on right now in our healthcare community. Make sure that we increase the ability for people to make more money in Alabama. and decrease the money that we're taking out of their pocket, get the federal government out of our lives, and that's how we're going to increase affordability. And it's not howling at the moon. That's the other problem. You got a bunch of officials that want to go howl at the moon. We can't howl at the moon. We have got to deliver for Alabama, making sure that we bring back for this state and no more of your tax dollars going to Leering centers in Minnesota or $40 million a week going to the Taliban, which we have representatives of our state who have voted for.
Now, and I'm also looking at this war dragging on, and I think even the president's like, well, who am I even negotiating with at this point? But do you have any particular insights to the Iran situation as it currently stands?
Yeah, so I was talking about this the other day. One of the things that we're in, I mean, it's very difficult because it's 50 years of bad foreign policy that have led us to this point. If we'd have dealt with this in 79 or 83 or the mid or late 80s or the 90s, we probably wouldn't have had GWOT, the global war on terror that I fought in and that my buddies died in. And we wouldn't have the $1 trillion that went into GWOT that has not only taxed the blood of my generation, but has taxed the financial ability for us to uphold and maintain ourselves, because war is unbelievably inflationary. And now on top of that, we have a pandemic you talked about earlier, and now we're having to go in with diesel fuel's already expensive, and diesel fuel's now at $6 a gallon to deal with the IRGC. They need to be dealt with. They're a threat that has to be dealt with. Right now, President Trump's going to China. China's the biggest issue with using the IRGC as a proxy. Hopefully we can work on that economic war with China and have some relief. But the other thing is unleashing American energy so that we're not so dependent on the global market that drives our energy prices, since 75% of our, oil is produced domestically. So all of that being said, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think what the Trump administration is doing right now is the best. It's a waiting game, and right now we've surrounded the city and we're starving out the IRGC. The question is when do they finally come to the table? The last thing I'll leave you with, we've got great geopolitical partners in Israel and the Middle East, but one of the things we have to do is make sure that we sit down and tell the Israelis, we're your partners, but you got to stop going in and trying to kill everybody that we're trying to negotiate with, because it makes it a whole lot more difficult to negotiate when you smoke somebody as soon as we get into the table.
Yeah, and you mentioned going to China, and I guess Trump taking like all these top flight CEOs, including Elon Musk and Jensen Huang of Nvidia, Tim Cook, and Larry Fink, even of BlackRock. I mean, for folks who don't understand this, China is the main focal point of most of what the Trump administration has been doing geopolitically.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're our biggest threat. I mean, right now we have an economic war going on with China. That's part of what the Iran situation is impacting. I would say that the bottom line is, and this is my opinion on a realistic China deal, this is not a reset with the Trump administration. It's not necessarily friendly, but it's also not permanent. I think it's really like it's almost a controlled economic standoff with some heavily negotiated pressure points with China. So the goal is to basically out-leverage them, and I think the easiest way that we could do that is going to be, essentially making sure that we deal with our supply chain. That's a big one, right? Oh, yeah. Decoupling from a lot of the sectors that we deal with in China, whether it's the electric stuff, the semiconductors, all of that, defense supply chains, pharmaceuticals we talked about earlier, funding the gain of function research and all the issues we saw with that, and then pushing production back here to U.S. and Mexico and other allied countries, primarily U.S., but making sure that we are not dealing with China on production. I think many of the tariffs that we see are going to stay in place, but I think some might be reduced in kind of a, hey, we're gonna kind of do a handshake deal, almost was it like good faith? But I'm afraid they might become a more permanent negotiating tool. But that's just that and $5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely. Now, another aspect of something I just always cover is the rapidly changing technological landscape. With AI, and of course with cryptocurrency, I just on the cryptocurrency is I want them to get the Clarity Act passed and done. The big banks aren't liking that. But one thing to just narrow this down is the current junior senator, who will be the senior senator after this election, has been constantly focused on protecting kids and protecting folks online. And I almost wonder if it goes beyond kids, especially with the AI aspect of like, can we even believe our own eyes? And then imagine, a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old boy or girl who's getting online and God knows what is getting their hooks into them. So have you thought about these issues, and where might you stand on, in particular, this technological change, and how do we almost protect our kids as this change is happening so fast?
Yeah, so Senator Britt already has signed on, co-sponsored the bill of, I think it's called the Kids Off Social Media Act or the Kids Off of Digital Media Act. I can't remember the exact name of the act, but basically it's to help protect our kids from being targeted. Now, I deal with this with the human trafficking, in particular the child exploitation side. I do with our nonprofit Covenant Rescue Group, and then I do as a law enforcement officer. And one of the things we see is our kids' digital fingerprint or our kids' digital footprint is targeted by predators. The days of a free candy van showing up and taking your kids are over for the most part. It still happens, but those days are over. They will target your kids through their digital presence. Now let's take it one step further. The days of our digital footprint not being targeted in this way is over. So I'll give you a for instance. Not is it just the human trafficking piece of being able to have bad images of a child or showing a child bad images on the AI side. That's bad enough as it is, and that has to be dealt with at the state and at the federal level. And a lot of these companies are regulating themselves now. Like Grok has started regulating themselves to some extent. But on the other side of it, you can take a voice. So if you have a video of your kid on Facebook, this happened to a family member recently. They took their kid's voice from a video, and they made it like they were screaming and needed help, and somebody called and wanted them to come pick up their son from school because he had some massive video. And you could hear him screaming in the background. It sounded just like him. He's screaming, "Mama help, Mama help." So now you have these fake ransom type situations where people are targeting you, targeting your family. They're trying to infiltrate your family, steal your money, steal your digital identity, and steal your peace of mind. So I do believe it goes even beyond our kids, but we have to protect. The government's job is to protect the citizens, and this is something where we have nefarious actors being stood up that we have to at least take a look at. I don't like giving the government access to much of anything because they screw everything up. With that being said, they are called to protect the citizens, and this is something that's attacking our citizens pretty regularly. And I see it as a law enforcement officer.
Here. Now, in a little bit, I think in the next hour, I'm going to read a little bit from a book, a great historian named Arthur Herman, like Freedom's Forge and so many other books. I've had him on the show a few times. Love Arthur. And he's got this new book out called Founder's Fire, which kind of lays out, from the founding era of this nation to Elon Musk and Trump today, what does it take to be a founder with that vision and be a first mover in an area where nobody else wants to go. But I was reading about the founding generation. Is there a particular founding father or story from the Revolutionary period or just a thought on that era of our founding as we come up close to celebrating the 250th that just sticks in your mind?
I would say my biggest one, and this is, kind of like saying, hey, what did you learn in Sunday school this morning? Well, we learned that Jesus is our Savior. It's kind of the blanket statement. But George Washington, if you read the story of George Washington and what he went through and the unbelievable uphill battle that he had to fight to become the general of ultimately the Continental Army that took over the British and was at the founding of our country. George Washington, at the end of that, conquered the Brits, and they asked him to be president, and he said no. He did not want that position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And everybody knows that story. But read about him and who he was as a man. He did not want that position, and I think that's important for us to understand. We need to elect officials who truly want to serve the people as opposed to desiring the position to uplift or uphold themselves, whether it's with congressional trading, whether it's with staying in there for 40 or 50 years and not ever letting go of the seat, because that's how these nefarious actors attack our republic, attack our democratic republic, and take over our democracy, right? We have got to make sure that we maintain the democratic republic of the United States of America, and we only do that with leaders like George Washington. And those men nowadays are few and far between.
Yeah, and you notice, at least I've noticed reading, especially somebody like Washington, in these days we talk a lot about liberty and me and I and what I should do. And somebody like George Washington would say, no, true liberty is probably obedience to God. And that's that duty. Like, that is something that I think needs to become cool again. Make duty and obedience to God cool again, and we'll be truly free then.
Well, and you were talking about the book, The Founder's Fire, and some of the biggest things talks about, obviously, courage, and unwavering faith and commitment to liberty and moral truth, right?
Amen.
Liberty and moral truth. Now, limited government's in there because obviously government is not God. God is God, and it gives the individual the right to accept what they're going to do. But we have to understand there's a moral truth that has to exist, and that is what George Washington pushed. That is what he believed in. Appeal to God is what they said, right? You remember the flag with the evergreen tree on it, and it said appeal to God or appeal to heaven?
Appeal to heaven.
That is what they believed, right? And so you make it appeal to heaven, and George Washington believed that, and that is part of who we are as Americans. You cannot have, this nation cannot be a godless nation, or it will not stand.
Amen. Amen. Now, pretty much out of time here. If folks want to find you, donate some money at the last second, volunteer at the last second, because the primary is next week, but how could they do so?
Tuesday. Yeah, go to HudsonForAlabama.com, like, share, and follow on all the social medias. You can check us out. We got a big social media following. We'd love to see you on that. Send a message to us, and hopefully we get to it in time. If you want to support in any way, get out and volunteer, but spread the word. Hopefully we've earned your support. Your vote's the most important thing you can give. Vote Jared Hudson on May 19th. I'm the best man for the job.
Well, appreciate it, Jared, and best of luck, sir.
Hey, thank you, brother. Hey, and tell old Troy, Rangers lead the way, brother. RLTW.
Oh, he's listening. He's out there. Appreciate you, man.
Later, brother.
Again, Jared Hudson, candidate for United States Senate. And, yeah, I think it's going to be, as Jeff Poore and I were talking, who gets into that runoff. So that's what I'll be looking out for on election night, is who gets in there with Barry Moore for that runoff. Because I think, with the Trump endorsement, Barry's always been a good campaigner. It's going to be fascinating, though. The runoff's a completely different beast. And if Jared Hudson gets in there, I think we got a lot more to pay attention to, not just with having to redo the congressional district races, but the runoff should be fascinating, especially at the U.S. Senate level. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. But actually, what I was just talking about with Jared for a second, here, let me grab it out of my bag here. Excuse me, gotta put some things up in a way. Is, this book, Arthur Herman, Founder's Fire, from 1776 to the Age of Trump. I was reading through this a little bit, and he talks about, how things started to get to a certain boiling point in the revolutionary period, saying that by 1774, a critical mass of the American political elite had reached this conclusion that, the British Crown was no longer a true authority. They were ready for the next critical stage in any founding, the decision to break away and start something new. The British invasion that followed Lexington and Concord, and then the full-scale fighting around Boston at Bunker Hill and Breeds Hill, meant that Americans didn't need the genius of a John Adams or a Thomas Jefferson to lead them to this conclusion. The feeling was widespread from New England and the merchant cities that felt most abused by London's misrule, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, through the mid-Atlantic to the southern colonies of Virginia, the Carolinas, and Georgia. As Tom Paine stated in the most popular book of the year, breaking free of Britain had become a matter of quote-unquote common sense. Later, Thomas Jefferson admitted being amazed at how quickly Americans were willing to throw off the habit of subservience, quote-unquote like a suit of old clothes, and to embrace independence and the self-governing republic that went with it. In other words, there was already a groundswell of support in the Second Continental Congress for independence and self-rule. The delegates from Georgia and from South and North Carolina even had explicit instructions from their legislatures empowering them to vote for independence. They weren't the only ones. The remaining question was this: who would be the first delegate to make it happen? In the crucial May of 1776, that delegate was Richard Henry Lee. He also had a valuable ally from the Massachusetts delegation, John Adams. Adams had been a firebrand for independence since the 1760s. When he arrived in Philly, his views were already well known. Quote, liberty can no more exist without virtue, and independence in the body can live and move without a soul. But his was not a personality that won friends, Adams' personality. although it might influence people when combined with a figure everyone liked and respected, like Richard Henry Lee. On May 10th, Lee and Adams, therefore, together, put forward a resolution recommending that the individual colonies take over all powers of government. The goal, it stated, was, quote, the happiness and safety of their constituents in particular and America in general, end quote. Far from being controversial, the resolution passed almost unanimously, and American founding was all but underway. It was the wording of the preamble accompanying the resolution that provoked the most debate and division when the delegates had to vote on it 5 days later, on May the 15th. The exact wording came from Adams' pen, not Lee's. It stated that the British government's abusive behavior was irreconcilable with Americans' oath of allegiance to that government and their king, and that the exercise of every kind of authority under the said crown should be totally suppressed, and all the powers of government exerted under the authority of the people of the colonies for the preservation of internal peace, virtue, and good order, as well as for the defense of their lives, liberties, and properties against the hostile invasions and cruel depredations of their enemies. That was too much for many delegates. In general, they worried that things were going too fast. James Wilson of Pennsylvania asked plaintively, before we are prepared to build a new house, why should we pull down the old one? When James Duane said the preamble seemed a machine for the fabrication of independence, Adams replied forthrightly that that was exactly what it was. A machine for the fabrication of independence. In fact, Adams considered the resolution, quote-unquote, independence itself. Despite the doubters about the preamble, the resolution passed. Adams was elated. He and Lee were getting ready for the next step, an actual full-out resolution declaring the independence of the American colonies. But there was no sugarcoating the risk they were all taking by doing so. On May the 8th, 2 days before the initial resolution was introduced, 2 British warships made a run at the colonists' defenses along the Delaware River, 30 miles from Philadelphia. The delegates in the State House could clearly hear the sound of cannon fire in the distance. It was a grim reminder of how perilous the course that they were choosing for independence could actually be. The peril they ran was not just against the British, but also against those in the Congress for whom independence was still a bridge too far, those who might make unity impossible. For John Dickinson and others in the Pennsylvania delegation, for example, the colonies were indeed facing a crisis, but a manageable one. Dickinson strongly felt there was no need for desperate measures like severing the ties to Britain by declaring independence, especially when an independent America would have no foreign allies. Adams, for one, furiously disagreed. Increasingly, he would take over pressing the case for separation from Britain, with a founder-sized vision to go with it. Adams had no illusions about how literally earth-shattering the decision for independence really would be. Never in history had colonies ever successfully broken away from their mother country. Never had a country the size of the 13 colonies ever successfully become a republic. But Adams was convinced it could and would happen that summer in Philadelphia. As he wrote to his wife and intellectual soulmate, Abigail, such a declaration, quote, I am apt to believe will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be commemorated as the day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shoes, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forever. The man who agreed with him most, agreed with Adams, was Benjamin Franklin. At age 70, he was a legendary figure already, not only as a thinker and intellectual, but as a political activist. As early as 1768, Franklin had grasped how important and how necessary independence would be, saying, quote, the more I have thought and read on the subject, the more I find myself confirmed in my opinion that no middle doctrine can be well maintained. Either Parliament has power to make all laws for us, or that it has the power to make no laws for us. That meant freedom through independence was not just a choice, but a destiny as well. He was also convinced that relying too much on Britain would thwart America's destiny as a land of labor where multitudes of poor people from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Germany have by this means in a few years become wealthy farmers through the power of that freedom. Franklin stood at the pinnacle of his reputation. Within the Congress itself, however, his role was diminished by illness and exhaustion. Leadership for independence would fall instead to Adams and to a much younger man from Virginia's delegation, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson arrived in Philadelphia only after the initial resolution had already passed. although his 1774 pamphlet, A Summary View of the Rights of British America, meant his reputation as a brilliant activist for independence was well established. Still, never contradict anybody had been Franklin's advice when Jefferson arrived, so Jefferson left the lead in defending independence to Adams. Adams, of course, ignored that piece of Franklin's advice with a vengeance. Jefferson's silence, on the other hand, during Congress's sessions became legendary. As Adams said, quote, "During the whole time I sat with him in Congress, I never heard him utter 3 sentences together." Jefferson came into his own only after June the 7th. On that day, Richard Henry Lee led the way again by introducing a resolution, quote, "that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states." His resolution came in 3 parts. The first was a formal declaration of independence, the second a call to form foreign alliances, and the third a plan for confederation. When asked if this was all going too far too fast, Lee could truthfully say he was only following the instructions he had received from the Virginia Convention. The battle over the first part of Lee's resolution started on June the 8th. It dragged on well into the night of June the 9th, and even into the next morning. Its opponents, led by Dickinson and the Pennsylvanians, excluding Ben Franklin, and Edward Rutledge and the Carolinians, managed only to fight the resolution to a draw. They insisted the Congress delay a final vote until after the middle colonies had to check with their legislatures, which meant a delay of 20 days until July the 1st. The opponents of independence had gained a temporary stay of execution, but even they could see what was coming. As Dickinson himself said, "My conduct this day, I expect, will give the finishing blow to my once great and now too diminished popularity. But thinking as I do on the subject of debate, silence would be guilt." Being the stalwart opponent of independence was a strange part for Dickinson to play. He himself had laid one of the cornerstones of the entire movement, the principle of no taxation without representation, back in 1768, when he argued that Parliament had no right to impose taxation without the consent of the colonial legislatures. But now the political tide was sweeping his view that declaring independence was too risky and would rule out any future compromise out into the sea of irrelevance. In the end, he would never sign the Declaration of Independence and would be remembered unjustly as its most notorious non-signer. On June 11th, Congress appointed 3 concurrent committees to address the 3 separate parts of Lee's independence resolution. The most important and significant was the committee of 5 delegates to draft the formal Declaration of Independence. The real stars of the committee were Benjamin Franklin and John Adams. Connecticut's Roger Sherman and Robert Livingston of New York were there to round out the committee's geographic diversity. The South's sole representative was Thomas Jefferson, who automatically offered the task of writing the Declaration to John Adams. Adams said no. Instead, he said Jefferson should do it. "Why?" Jefferson asked. "Reason first. You're a Virginian, and a Virginian ought to appear at the head of this business. Reason second. I am obnoxious, suspected, and unpopular. You are very much otherwise. Reason third. You can write 10 times better than I do." Jefferson, already known as the author of the very popular A Summary View of the Rights of British America, could not disagree on any of those points. When he actually sat down to start writing, his mind was on what such a document should convey, not just to its immediate audience, including the British, but also to posterity. Neither aiming at the originality of principle or sentiment, nor yet copied from any particular and previous writing, the Declaration was intended to be an expression of the American mind, Jefferson would later explain, and to give to that expression the proper tone and spirit called for by the occasion. By expressing the American mind, Jefferson meant to place before mankind the common sense of the subject. Common Sense was not only the title of the very popular Tom Paine pamphlet that had encouraged so many to take up the cause of political independence, it was also the dominant philosophy of the colony's best minds, the belief that judging the weightiest moral, political, and even scientific issues was something that every human being was equipped to do through our most basic and universal powers of reason. With Jefferson in charge, the result was a classic founder's document, clear, concise, presenting a bold vision in a straightforward way. A document meant as a prompt to decisive action, not simply intellectual reflection. As such, Jefferson said later, the Declaration almost wrote itself. Later, he summed up the experience concisely this way: I consented to write the Declaration. I drew it up. Every founder needs to think about why what they are creating is important, as well as how to create it. That was the essential task Jefferson set before himself and the other committee members. By every standard, he succeeded brilliantly. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. All men are created equal, and among these unalienable rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The committee was delighted with the result. They were inevitable changes and additions, such as changing Jefferson's "we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable" to hold them as self-evident. But on the whole, it was Jefferson's masterpiece from start to finish. On Monday, July 1st, 1776, the entire Congress met to hear the result. John Dickinson issued his final warning about moving too quickly towards declaring independence. Then John Adams took over and gave a speech that rolled through the chamber like thunder rolling over the horizon. Objects of the most stupendous magnitude, measures in which the lives and liberties of millions, born and unborn, are most essentially interested, are now before us. We are in the very midst of revolution, the most complete, unexpected, and remarkable of any in the history of the world. I'll stop there, because I do have to hit a break. But this is where I'm reading from Arthur Herman, Founder's Fire, from 1776 to the age of Trump. And I encourage you to pick it up, because this is just the founding era. And Arthur Herman has a gift of being able to sprint through history with a certain theme in mind and do it in a way that brings to life certain chapters of history, but also will teach you something in an accessible way. So I highly encourage you to check out that book. Again, Arthur Herman, Founder's Fire. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Clark with Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about our experience with Blue Water Broadcasting. One of the hot topics in our staff meetings is spending advertising dollars. If your company or firm is anything like Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, those dollars are limited, so you have to spend them wisely. That's why we choose Blue Water Broadcasting. Our marketing analysis has proven consistently that spending advertising dollars with Blue Water Broadcasting has contributed significantly to our bottom line. And for that, Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is truly grateful. So, if you want to spend your advertising dollars wisely, choose Blue Water Broadcasting and see the difference.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
A man who's done a fantastic job, Sheriff Matt Gentry. Thank you.
When Alabama families needed protecting, Matt Gentry answered the call. For nearly 30 years as a Marine, a deputy, and now the Sheriff of Coleman County, he's stood between us and danger. Now, Matt is taking that same no-nonsense approach to the Public Service Commission to stand up for Alabama ratepayers and fight back against liberal green energy agendas that threaten our way of life.
From small farms to front porches, people deserve someone that will fight for them, someone who understands them and understands their struggles. I'm Matt Gentry. I'm asking for your prayers, your support, and your vote for the Public Service Commission.
Because Alabama doesn't need more politics. It needs a sheriff. Paid for by Gentry for PSC. P.O. Box 655, Coleman Avenue, 35056.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electric bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
You want your floors to scream new, fresh, and stylish. But if yours are groaning, tired, old, and outdated, you're in luck. Because at Prattville Carpet, you can revitalize your floors while you save on the best brands available with perfect and professional installation and Prattville's unbeatable lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Start shopping for your floors right now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Truckers, listen up. A $2,500 sign-on bonus only at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Work for a company that puts God and family first. 855-777-9785. Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a series of storm-free days for the next several days. Tonight will be mostly clear, overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, look for plenty of sunshine with a high temperature right around 80 tomorrow. We'll be in the low to mid-80s on Friday, and nights will start to cool down. Thursday night down to the low 50s for the overnight low. But over the upcoming weekend, a touch of summer, 88 by Saturday, near 90 on Sunday, still mostly sunny. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones at 334-272-9228 and talk to Chicken Man. Hey, Chicken Man, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I wanted to bring up an issue. Some people may think that it's too early to even be talking about this, but I think that it's urgent to find out now before our next president starts the next term. I'd like to know, if the next administration will continue and build up the policies, not just because they're Trump, but build up the policies, or will they just totally wipe them out and totally dismantle every policy that has the Trump name on it?
You talking about this midterm election, or are you talking about 2028?
Right, either one. I mean, midterm or 2028. I mean, we need to know all this, not just because it's Trump. What are their stands are going to be, how to either improve or either, just tear it down.
Yeah, I think you're spot on that. And but right now, the name of the game is get your base energized. In a lot of ways, you get the left energized, you crap all over Donald Trump.
Right, and I mean, it's going to be a tough job for any campaign manager to decide what's going to be best for that politician.
Yeah, and it's we'll see how the midterms shake out. If the midterms don't work out the way the Democrats hope, then it could be 2028's a completely different ballgame, and you might even start seeing people drop the anti-Trump thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, y'all have a good day.
Appreciate you, Chicken Man. And 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. This entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're an Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon, they are ready to help you out, whether you're looking to buy a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you're looking to refinance your current home. Don't fall victim to these flashy mailers or spam calls or 1-800-lenders or those fancy website places. Instead, go with great local folks that can get you a pre-approval as good as gold. So don't, waste your time online on one of these mortgage calculators. You're not getting the right numbers. Instead, call up Kim and Madeline today, and they can start with pre-approval in the home buying process, or if you're looking to refinance to get debt off your back or save up that retirement fund, or, just use your money however you want to use it that you built up in your home as equity. Well, they can help you out there at Alabama Home Mortgage, and they not only serve Alabama, though it's in the name, they can also help you out with buying or refining in Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee, along with Alabama. So y'all check them out today. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223 is the number you need to dial. It's 567-4223, or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
DeJuan Walker has been an Alabama Power customer since 1999.
We're being squeezed on every side. We hear about Alabama Power freezing their rates. That's the best news we can get. Alabama Power rate freeze will provide real relief for Alabama working families. Alabama Power is protecting their customers by making data centers pay their full costs. It makes me feel at peace. Alabama Power is really stepping up and doing what's right for customers.
Stanley spent his life in the saddle, wrangling whatever life threw at him. But nothing prepared him for the fight against low T and ED. Shame practically hunched him over. Online pills just gave him a headache. He begged for a lifeline.
Well, maybe it's over.
Montgomery Men's Health said no. Medical conditions, old age, there's hope. This is about real treatments. Science, not one-size-fits-all guesswork. Montgomery Men's Health was designed for men who hate going to the doctor. Personalized plans, cutting-edge treatments, overseen by an actual urologist and providers that take the time to listen. With low T and ED treatments others only dream about, we fight like hell to get you back in the saddle. Because every second you wait, your condition could worsen. Act now. Don't let time slip away. Dial 334-440-3663 or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Your consultation is only $99, including blood work. And you know your T level before you leave. Montgomery Men's Health. Making it happen.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm Bill. You called about some breakers tripping?
Oh, yes, Bill. My brother-in-law says you can do almost anything.
That's me. Not much I hadn't seen.
Do you really want someone who does almost anything in your electric box? Think about that, because each year thousands of home fires are caused by faulty wiring. That's why you want a professional, like the electricians at Crosby Electric.
Bill, how's it going? Bill, ooh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't really need my eyebrows anyway.
At Crosby Electric, all technicians undergo rigorous safety training, as well as background checks, drug testing, and continuing education.
Bill, you think maybe I should call a real electrician?
No, these little slip-ups happen. Everybody does it.
Really?
No, not really. When you need professional electric work, or you just like someone to assess your home for safety, call the experts at Crosby Electric, 272-2085, or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
Mayday, Mayday, may I have your attention? I want to announce that Pizza Perfect in May, you can buy a large pizza at the regular price and get a large single topping pizza for only $10. You already know that Pizza Perfect has the best pizza buffet in town, including spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13 at lunch and dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday all day. In May, buy any large pizza at the regular price and get a large single topping pizza for $10. Pizza Perfect, Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook, available for pickup and delivery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Joey. How are you?
Oh, we're doing pretty good today. Just flying through the day. And what you been selling over there, helping folks out with at Cohen's?
I'll tell you, we've had a lot of big TVs and sound bars. A lot of Sonos has been going on. Michael Jacks is out doing some installs right now. We got the delivery crew. I mean, they've been pretty wide open with appliance deliveries and installations, and they're getting a lot of reviews. I love hearing reviews where they say, you know, you had a lot of obstacles to go through, which you know, it's kind of code for I didn't really get my house in order before I got y'all over here, and we you know, but you know, you went through the maze. You got it up the stairs, and more importantly, you got the old one down and out, and you know, everything is still in the same condition it was when you got here, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, and I've seen your fellas at work helping me out, and they get the job done, and won't leave until it's perfectly set up, like you're satisfied. And I guess that's somewhat self-preservation, not having to come back. But as a customer, I love it.
Well, yeah, and sometimes they think we yell at them too much, but we haven't had to yell in a very long time. Everybody's up their game and giving better service and taking better care of the customer. And, you know, I think they feel more empowered to do the right thing when they're there. And some of it, like you said, is self-preservation. You know, I work more closely with Michael Jackson. I know that he wants to do it all the best he can do so that he doesn't have to come back.
Yeah, do it right the first time.
That's right. And you know, the old adage of if you don't have time to do it right the first time, when do you have time to come back? And you know, everybody's kind of buying into that today. And you know, I guess we did have a struggle. You know, employees were tough to find there for a while, and you know, we're fortunate that we've got some good ones today.
Love it. And folks, you know, Cohen's, they have amazing products, and they're never going to be beat on price, but they're always going to win when it comes to service during and after the sale. So if you want to check them out, you can always go to thinkcohens.com, or maybe you already know what you want help with. Just call them up at 277-8890, but I really encourage you to stop by here in Montgomery, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show with that Joey Clark guy.
That's right. That's right. And unlike Eddie, we're always here.
Yes, indeed we are. Wouldn't it be nice to just be feet up on the beach right now?
It would be nice. Mm-hmm. It would be nice. Maybe someday we'll have a friend like Eddie that'll take us.
Yeah, one day when the responsibilities don't hold us back. You know, I was just talking earlier about George Washington and duty, and you know, we got duties. You know, I don't know about the other guy.
Yeah, I don't either. Anyway, y'all come ask us some questions. Let us ask you some questions. Let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are, appliances or electronics. And have a great day and be safe.
Appreciate you, Michael. Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Be sure to tell him that you heard him here on the radio show with Joey. So we got a few other odds and ends that we can jump into, including Coach Tuberville supporting a new bill in the United States Congress called the Assimilation Act. He's teaming up with Representative Andy Ogles. And Tuberville going to the Senate floor and really calling out the Islamists, saying they aren't coming here looking for a better life. They're coming here to impose their radical beliefs on us and mooch off American taxpayers. They have no interest in adapting to American national identity. We also have Bobby Kennedy with a little bit of an announcement. Of course, there was fireworks yesterday in the Senate with the FBI Director Kash Patel being accused of being a drunk or something like that. So we got a bunch of different odds and ends we can run into, and of course, whatever is breaking out there. Y'all stay tuned. More after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The welcoming ceremony for President Trump as he arrived in Beijing for a summit with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping included a military honor guard and a military band, along with hundreds of Chinese youths waving flags and chanting warm welcome. The youth greeters today were decked out in white and robin's egg colored outfits. Those match the paint job on the iconic presidential plane. The real heart of the summit gets underway tomorrow as President Trump and Xi hold bilateral talks and pay a visit to the Temple of Heaven, as well as take part in a formal banquet. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he recently paid a visit to the United Arab Emirates during the Iran war. His office said on Wednesday that Netanyahu met with the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan during the visit, and it added that the visit resulted in an historic breakthrough in relations between Israel.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Rich Thomas Weather brought to you by M&M Outdoors. Book your stay today at MNMCampground.com for relaxation at its best. It's easy to find and hard to leave. M&M Outdoors, your home away from home.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a series of storm-free days for the next several days. Tonight will be mostly clear, overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, look for plenty of sunshine with a high temperature right around 80 tomorrow. We'll be in the low to mid-80s on Friday, and nights will start to cool down. Thursday night down to the low 50s for the overnight low. But over the upcoming weekend, a touch of summer, 88 by Saturday, near 90 on Sunday, still mostly sunny. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Big dreams for your home on a tight budget? ASE's $26.26 as you covered. Unlock your home's equity with just $26 in closing costs. No fees, no headaches. Visit your local ASE branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 420259.
1819 News.
The upcoming special primary election here in Alabama will not include the 2 Senate districts that were recently redrawn by a court order. The August special primary election will, so far, only involve the congressional districts for the state. That's because of a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling that lifted an injunction on Alabama and its congressional district map, but did not include another lower court ruling that required the 2 Senate districts to be redrawn. The judge that did that was federal judge Anna Manasco, and that was following a lawsuit from plaintiffs here in the state. The court order from Manasco involves State Senate District 25 and 26. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall has filed a motion asking for the federal court to also remove this injunction on the state Senate districts Governor Ivey says she's ready to act quickly in this area if the court does grant that motion. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness License Plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
A prison healthcare contractor that worked with the Alabama Department of Corrections has now filed for bankruptcy. The contract work that YesCare had with the ADOC was for $1 billion, starting in 2023 and running to 2027. YesCare was contracted to provide comprehensive health care to all of the ADOC inmates. YesCare is a company based out of Tennessee. And a New Hope man was arrested this week for making terroristic threats in the Limestone County Courthouse. 42-year-old Everett Welch called in a bomb threat to the circuit clerk's office this past Monday. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
At Blue Water Broadcasting, we believe great advertising starts with relationships. That's why so many local business owners trust us, not just for radio, but for digital too. If you're already running digital advertising and you're not seeing results, it may be time to explore your options. Our team takes the time to understand your business, then builds custom campaigns using a multi-channel conversion-focused approach. So whether it's digital display, social media, or you need help increasing your online presence, Blue Water Broadcasting can help. Before your next campaign, let's have a conversation. Visit bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
We get this question all the time.
Do you handle that?
Buying or selling a home?
Yes.
Commercial?
Yes.
Land or investments?
Absolutely. Hannah and Eddie Realty Group. One team.
Every real estate move. 334-322-0662.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Break it up, son. Joke's over here.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Paid for by McGinnis for Alabama, 203 Investment Lane, Summerdale, Alabama, 36580.
Hillary! Hillary! I'm really feeling my pain. I sure could use a 5-point plan right now.
I'm Christina Warner McKinnis, and we all need the 5-point plan for Alabama farms and families. Better food security. They should be able to buy Alabama rotisserie chicken with SNAP benefits, not margarita mix. Guide more farmers to the millions of dollars in grants they deserve. Protect our farmland from China and promote sweet-grown Alabama for tourism. We need more Alabama food on the plates of our schools and home. It's time to tell the politicians in Montgomery, same old is not working for us.
Christina Warner McKinnis for Agriculture.
I haven't asked the big guy yet, but I have a feeling he'll like the plan.
This 5-point plan is huge, very special, and believe me, I know the 5-point plan. And all the other 5-point plans are horrible, probably made in China.
Behind every clean lobby, every polished boardroom, every safe, spotless workplace, there's Janie King Franchise Owner who takes pride in making it happen. These are your neighbors, people who live here, work here, and care about the businesses that shape our community. They show up, they follow through, and they make sure your facility is ready for the day, every day. That's why companies across the community trust Janie King as their local cleaning partner. Visit JannieKingCleans.com today.
Janie King, the king of clean.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
To Joey Clark.
Joey Clark.
It's Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final hour of the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark, and there's just so much going on. Now, of course, Trump is there in China to meet with President Xi, and then you've got this COVID cover-up hearing that Rand Paul's doing, we covered earlier. And a lot of other different odds and ends, from the fireworks yesterday with Kash Patel to, well, now we have J.D. Vance and Dr. Oz here. We're rooting out the fraud in Medicaid and Medicare. In a second, I want to get to what Vice President Vance and Dr. Oz are saying. But I just looked at 1819 News, and on an issue I care about very much, y'all know how much I care about the, say, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin stuff. And like, what's Bitcoin even doing? Well, I still think it's the future. Honestly, I do. By the way, JP Morgan Chase, folks. Big bank. And that's, by the way, the name of the game here. The big banks want to be in the position to control this, what is clearly the future, what is clearly the next big thing. That's why there's been a delay on the so-called market structure bill, the Clarity Act. And in a second, there's an open letter at 1819news.com by Wade Preston of Prevail Coffee in downtown Montgomery. And he has an open letter to Katie Britt on giving small business a fighting chance on crypto. I think we'll have to read that. But why is he having to even make this plea? Well, it's because, and this is the holdup, the big banks want to get in on action. For instance, JP Morgan Chase, for the longest time, they're saying it was worthless. I think Jamie Dimon said, that's worthless. Well, let's listen into this from CNBC.
JP Morgan is allowing clients to pledge Bitcoin and Ether as collateral for loans. Leslie Picker is joining us now with details. Hi, Leslie.
Hey, Morgan. Yeah, in chatting with sources familiar with the matter, I'm told it's still early days. And for now, the concept is limited to the firm's trading business. JP Morgan's trading business has, for a few months now, accepted IBIT, the ETF, as a form of collateral, which it sees as less volatile as the underlying currency. However, I'm told that certain hedge fund managers and asset managers are demanding more of these types of crypto services. Although, again, I'm told that offering Bitcoin and Ether as collateral for trading is not imminent at the firm. While many remember, as you mentioned, Morgan, Jamie Dimon's comments about Bitcoin being, say, a pet rock, he has moderated his tone recently.
JP Morgan.
Yeah, just a little bit. And it's not just them, it's everybody. They can all see the writing on the wall. And so what are they doing? They're using their political power, their political pull and privilege, to crowd out the up-and-comers and crowd out the little guy. So again, this is Wade Preston here at Montgomery. It's at 1819news.com, an open letter to Katie Britt on giving small business a fighting chance on crypto, because I believe Senator Britt is on the banking committee. Dear Senator Britt, I want to share a perspective with you, not as a policy professional, but as a small business owner here in Montgomery. You and your staff have visited Prevail Coffee several times over the years, so you have seen firsthand the kind of community-centered business we have built. What many people do not realize is that one of the largest impediments to the growth, if not survival, of a small community-focused business like ours is not payroll, rent, or even the record-high coffee prices we've recently experienced. It's payment processing fees. If credit card processing fees were an employee at Prevail, they would be the highest paid employee on our payroll. Every transaction takes a cut, and those cuts bleed. For small businesses operating on tight margins, the costs add up quickly. This is not just an Alabama problem, writes Wade Preston. Across America, billions of dollars are extracted from local communities and directed into highly consolidated financial networks. The average profit margin for a coffee shop is a meager 2.5%, a number that's likely lower for smaller independent cafes. Meanwhile, the average credit card processing fee for the same market segment is over 3.5%. Banks and card networks are making money while community businesses die. This is why I care so deeply about getting stablecoin and crypto policy right. I understand and respect, writes Wade Preston, the concerns about financial stability, deposit flight, consumer protection, and systemic risk. Those concerns are real. But I also believe the current legislative framework, bolstered by the long-negotiated Tillis-Also-Brooks compromise, already prudently addresses those risks through reserve requirements, transparency standards, and clear regulatory frameworks. My concern is that some of the largest financial incumbents are using those legitimate concerns to push for even tighter restrictions that don't meaningfully add more stability to the system, but instead protect their fee revenue and market control. This is not the American way. Amen. Now, Wade Preston's going to keep going on in a second. I might say, though, to Wade, and I agree with what he's putting down here, but perhaps the banks aren't as strong as they present themselves to be. Perhaps that centralized, consolidated financial network that gets all these processing fees really relies on those processing fees. Now, should that mean they should be able to lord it over small community-based businesses? No, I agree with Wade Preston there. And in fact, crypto and a lot of things that are being innovated were meant to get around the centralized, consolidated financial system. But you got to wonder, how secure are these banks, these big banks? Or did we even learn our lesson from 2008? So yes, you can be concerned about all the things just listed. But you got to wonder, how much are the current behemoths, leviathans in finance and in American political life, how insecure are they if they can't take a challenge from local shops all over the country, if they have to grind small business down, if they have to have this consolidated network? That's the problem with centralized power. It becomes fragile, and perhaps fragile by design. And that's the even worse level of getting maybe slightly cynical, but I think it's just being realistic. I think some of the centralized, powerful players are designed to be fragile on purpose, so, well, they don't actually have to compete. That brings me back to Wade Preston with this open letter to Senator Katie Britt. He says, free markets and healthy competition create the best outcomes, not regulatory capture and legislative moats. Programmable money, crypto and stablecoin infrastructure, writes Wade Preston, not only creates the possibility of faster payments and lower transaction costs, but more importantly, it creates new ways for communities and local businesses to keep more value circulating locally instead of being extracted by Manhattan-based intermediaries. The conversation goes beyond quote-unquote yield. Local economies desperately need the activity-based incentive mechanisms of the current text to rehome billions of dollars to our local Alabama economies and help our small businesses move from surviving to thriving. Changing the current text denies small businesses a powerful tool before it could ever reach their hands. You know firsthand the challenges we've faced building what we've built in Montgomery. I have fought tooth and nail for an American dream that is dying. I've persisted, not because it is lucrative, but because it is good and right to do so, and I believe that our community is worth fighting for. After 15 years of working, scrapping, and fighting to make payroll and rent each month, we've accomplished something everyone told us was impossible. We've created a retail-facing brand in Montgomery and exported it to larger markets like Atlanta and Birmingham. However, like most quote-unquote successful small businesses, we're barely scraping by financially. Meanwhile, we are on pace to pay out over $100,000 in fees to banks and card networks for a service that carries a near zero cost on stablecoin payment rails. In order to move a meaningful number of customers to these rails, incentive structures like the rewards laid out in the Tillis-Also-Brooks compromise are essential. This is our path to move from a model based on extraction to one built on coordination and mutual benefit. I believe America has an opportunity to lead here responsibly, writes Wade Preston. Of course, Wade is the co-founder of Prevail Coffee here in Montgomery. We can create smart guardrails without shutting down innovation that could genuinely help Main Street communities thrive again. I have nothing against banks. I love our community banking partners. They are vital to local economic health. And contrary to popular narratives, the current market structure framework will actually open up opportunities to bolster community banks' deposits, as those deposits are approved backing assets under the Genius Act. I am already in conversations with several community banks and trust companies here locally to do just that. If we get this right, we can win together. You know, those aren't just words for me. That sentiment is our ethos. Thousands have walked through the doors of Prevail from all over the world, and they are greeted by the same message. Together, we prevail. All I want are the tools to build meaningful things together. Our Montgomery community deserves that. Alabama deserves that. America deserves that. Senator, I encourage you and your team, writes Wade Preston, to continue engaging not only with large financial institutions, I said it that way, he wrote it correctly, but also with the small businesses and local communities who live with the cost of the current system every single day. We aren't asking for the regulatory moat for which the banks are asking. We're simply asking for a fighting chance. And it is a shame to see, especially because I was real early to the party. I was too early. Should have been more patient. I could have been a multimillionaire, but alas, I was impatient and dumb and stoned. That said, it's a shame to see this new innovation that isn't just one mousetrap, but an entire new network of people and entrepreneurs that are trying to create a new financial system that liberates people, especially the little guy. And to see Washington, D.C. respond to that innovation at the beck and call of major institutions that innovation was meant to go around, it's sad, to say the least. And one would hope a younger senator of a different generation wouldn't be beholden to the same big mules that have been running this place since before she was even born. 272-9228 if you want to get on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Would you please stop talking? Oh, my God. On and on and on. It's Papa B.
Are you even listening to the show? I was reading an open letter.
I know. I'm just kidding. So, the guy's right, though. I mean,
he is right.
In my business, I mean, it's just one fee after another, and it's little bitty things here and there. I call them fleas. I got fleas, you got fleas, all God's children got fleas, and by the time you start counting it up, you wonder, well, your margin is shrinking like crazy, which is, I mean, very tight to begin with. And you start accounting for it like, well, I'm going to have to include all these fees in my ordinary price. I'm going to have to start pricing it in because I can't pay everybody else's fee. You know, they want me to handle their fees for them. Well, they're just going to have to do it themselves. I don't have the money for it. So, but you know, it does. It's on and on and on like that. And so, hopefully, maybe. What are you saying? This cryptocurrency might be able to give us some relief from that?
Oh, absolutely, especially around processing fees, where you can essentially have payment, like to the average bearer, it would be the same thing, like you tap your card or whatever. But behind the scenes, it wouldn't just go to some Manhattan intermediary. It would go to local community and regional banks. And you can set it up to where it is de minimis. Like it's not 3.5%. It's less than 1%.
Right. Well, any help is better than none at all, and I'm telling you right now, people don't realize it, but they're eating their lunch. You know, all the fees, it's just eating their lunch, and it's almost like you don't realize it until you start adding it up, and you're like,
right.
Good night.
Well, and this reminds me of like,
go ahead.
No, with money, like the average bear, like including small business owners who are, I think, a little better than average, but like the average person in America thinks of money as like what? Property. Like it should be a property right. And it's kind of a signal of the value I offered up to the market that I got in return on the market. Well, I think there are a lot of folks in the big banking system and especially in politics that money is not a property right. Money's a tool for power and control.
Yes.
And that's the fight.
Now you're talking.
That's the fight.
There you go. You're You're over the target. So, but look, I wanted to real quickly call about this, whistleblower with the Fauci deal that's going on. I really enjoyed that. Let me just say this, okay? I think there's another level of accountability that Fauci and his crew and a lot of other folks are going to have to come to terms with, and that is treaty law. Treaty law, if I'm ask somebody that knows, but in many cases, it exceeds or is, don't want to use the word loosely, but trumps domestic law.
Yes.
Okay. And when you develop something that is no other purpose than a biological weapon, I mean, gain of function for something that doesn't exist, experimentation like that, it can and probably does fall under, the treaties that we have internationally. And I do believe that they're going to have to come to terms with that, because those treaties, are law too. Do they follow the same kind of statute of limitations that Rand Paul is worried about? I don't know. I don't think so, though. And it'd be interesting to find out somebody that really does know more about treaty law to see if they can't speak to it, because I'm telling you, I don't think this is our last bite of the apple with Fauci and them, especially if I'm right. Do you know anything about all of that?
Like a little bit of the basic principle, what you mean, that an international treaty is like on the level of, say, the Constitution.
Yeah, right, exactly.
As opposed to say, well, we changed the rules, Senator Paul, in our bureaucratic meeting, and so it isn't gain of function, even though it looks like gain of function. Gotcha. No, just that little worm.
Just give me about 5 or 10 minutes in a room by myself with him. That's all. Everybody's problem be solved. We'll solve everybody's problem really quick.
Yeah,
I might not come out of it, but neither will somebody else.
It reminds me of, it's actually something I heard an exorcist say. He's done a lot of interviews, Chad Ripperger, Father Chad Ripperger. And he was talking about it in terms of like the power structures in Hollywood and a lot of politics and stuff, and like literal demonic, say, behavior at that level. Yeah. And I'm starting to think that way when it comes to this COVID thing. The term that sticks in my mind that Ripperger put out there is revealing the method. They get a rise out of showing you exactly what they did and then going, see, you still can't touch us. There's a certain glee in that.
Yeah. 100%.
Yep.
No, it's a power play for sure. And they live it. And so I'm telling you, man, if there's a way to bring that kind of thinking down a notch or 2 or 10 with some sort of a prosecutorial authority, it needs to happen quick. It needed to happen a long time ago, but man, I'm telling you, there's some people that need to be frog marched in a hurry.
Well, and there's a lot of folks that want to throw Netanyahu in The Hague and Putin in The Hague and even Trump himself and all this stuff, but perhaps we can give you Fauci. Let's do that.
If we can do that, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. And speaking of dollars and cents, not just all the processing fees that the big international players are using for not just making money, but power and control. It's interesting when you have multi-trillion-dollar like budgets, like money just flowing out, say in entitlement programs, how rife with fraud that is. And of course, it's the perfect place to do fraud because you don't want to take away somebody's Medicare or Medicaid. You don't want to take away the basics, these safety nets and stuff. So it's a perfect sort of just benefit of the doubt that a lot of scammers take on. Well, this happened just this afternoon. This is J.D. Vance and Dr. Oz here. We're going to lay it out. Talking about the fraud, and this is the beginning of the so-called war on fraud that Vance and team are leading. And they're starting, it looks like, with Medicaid.
We're announcing that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements from the state of California. And the simple reason is because the state of California has not taken fraud very seriously, and because of that, we see a lot of the consequences that I just referenced. And again, let me highlight the fact that this really is two separate victims. So there are California taxpayers and American taxpayers who are being defrauded because California isn't taking its program seriously. But also you have people who've been prescribed medications that they don't even need. Sometimes they've had drugs put into their bodies that they don't need because fraudsters have actually encouraged false prescriptions and false administration of medications. So think about this. You're just a person trying to go see a doctor. You assume that your doctor is doing the right thing, but these fraudulent healthcare providers are getting rich by giving people medications they don't even need. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, but it's a violation of the trust that should exist between every American and the people who prescribe the medications. That's one thing that we're targeting, and this is why we're taking this action, is because we want California to get serious about this fraud.
And that's just a little bit of looking. Just a little bit. It's not a lot. They're just looking like the bare minimum of a few months of work. You got to wonder, okay, that's just California. What about New York? What about Illinois? What about this place, that place, the other? And Vance goes on to say that today we are sending across 50 Medicaid programs letters that will require them to show that they are effectively and aggressively prosecuting Medicaid fraud in their states. And if they do not, we're going to turn off the money that goes to these anti-fraud units. So here is Dr. Oz. I promise you, Dr. Oz. He's going to lay out the stunning levels of suspected Medicaid and hospice fraud just in California, uncovered by the Fraud Task Force. So take it away, Dr. Oz. Tell us about it.
California Medicaid deferral that the Vice President mentioned is $1.34 billion. Their submissions of Medicare records and the backup estimates are generating major red flags for us. And we have looked carefully at these records. We are allowed to audit, looking back for a quarter. Dan Brillman, Caprice Knapp, who lead the Medicaid program, spearheaded this effort with a great team. We've discovered $630 million in billing from the folks who are egregiously the top 5% of outliers in billing. This is numbers so big you can't imagine anyone billing for these numbers of patients and that much for each patient. And so we're asking California to clarify for us how it got there. Second big area of observation is when you bill within a state, you should be comparable to the states around you. But in California, that's not been the case. In California, the growth of spending in personal care services, in-home services, is twice the rate of the average of the rest of the country. Let me say that again. Wow. The rest of the country is at one number. California is twice that number in its growth rate. We estimate there's $500 million that could be at risk, taken from federal taxpayers. That means people in New Mexico, which is a blue state, are paying extra taxes so that California can get away with something that they can't defend. So there's $500 million there. We're going to defer till they can show us more convincingly why that's the case. And there's another $200 million that we're stopping in questionable expenditures. Much of that is linked to immigration-related costs. You know, folks who are undocumented, and we're not sure why we're paying for this. And as you know from the Working Families Tax Cut legislation, which I'm going to emphasize is a program that saved Medicaid. The President and Congress saved Medicaid with that bill. That became legislation. There's another $200 million at risk there. Added together, $1.34 billion. It's the largest deferral we've ever made. We're making it for a good reason. We'd like the state to at least come to the table and explain to us how these outlier payments have been generated. Second major issue is home health care fraud and hospice fraud. So let's just clear this up. Hospice, end of life, designed 40 years ago, a beautiful program that's designed to take care of you because you have cancer and you're not going to survive more than 6 months. To do that, the federal government says, we're going to trade your Medicare benefit for hospice benefit. So you give up Medicare, because why would you want to have coverage for things you're never going to use? You're dying. You want to die with dignity and grace. It's a beautiful program. Unfortunately, in California and other states, fraudsters have stolen your Medicare number, taken it, and given you hospice you didn't want. which means if you get sick and go to the ER, you're not getting care. And you can't even find out what happened because you weren't in the mix of this. There have been a lot of people complaining about this over the years, including people that should have been listened to, like the Auditor General of California, who in 2022 raised this issue to the current governor, and for some reason they have not taken action. Unfortunately, we have a reality that, again, we got to face. A third of all hospices, a third of all these programs in the entire country are in Los Angeles. Ask yourself, how is that possible? It's not. There are not that many people dying in Los Angeles. We're not talking about California, just Los Angeles. So Kim and the team, with Janina Ugo and a bunch of other great folks, went through the list of all the people, and we believe that at least half of the hospices in the entire area around Los Angeles are fraudulent.
Wow.
And today we announce 800 of those hospices have been suspended. That's getting us, close to where we think we should be. 800 hospices that last year charged the federal taxpayer $1.4 billion will no longer be paid. Now, Mr. Vice President, if your core business was shut down by the federal government, would you call?
Yes.
You would call. Crickets. We have less than 20 who have complained. We're not even sure those are legitimate. 800 hospices shut down, and we're not hearing much. It's crickets out there. So we believe we're on the right path here.
That's insane. Half? And I like that this task force is finding this stuff and cleaning it up, but that sort of fraud at that scale, not just the financial drain, but I worry about the soul of that city. I know God promised he wouldn't flood the earth again, and I hope he doesn't, but that's just one aspect of what's going on in that city. Insane. Take advantage of people at that level of life, too. And that's my main takeaway from listening to that. Yes, the money. A lot of money. Billions of dollars worth of money. But the amount of moral rot by the people doing the fraud outright, as well as authorities to just go, look the other way. That should be a much bigger bombshell than it is. But honestly, there's so much in the news, I think everybody's a little desensitized these days. Anyway, got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
A man who's done a fantastic job, Sheriff Matt Gentry. Thank you.
When Alabama families needed protecting, Matt Gentry answered the call. For nearly 30 years as a Marine, a deputy, and now the Sheriff of Coleman County, he's stood between us and danger. Now, Matt is taking that same no-nonsense approach to the Public Service Commission to stand up for Alabama ratepayers and fight back against liberal green energy agendas that threaten our way of life.
From small farms to front porches, people deserve someone that will fight for them, someone who understands them and understands their struggles. I'm Matt Gentry. I'm asking for your prayers, your support, and your vote for the Public Service Commission.
Because Alabama doesn't need more politics. It needs a sheriff. Paid for by Gentry for PSC. P.O. Box 655, Coleman Avenue, 35056.
Trust is the number one reason why a patient chooses a healthcare provider. Adams Drugs has been your trusted healthcare provider since 1962 and has been voted the number one pharmacy in the River region for many years. We strive each and every day to provide you the level of health care you have come to expect from Adams Drugs. The employees at Adams Drugs take pride in developing relationships with their patients, from making sure your prescriptions are filled correctly to getting to know you and your family's needs and following up on any questions you may have. Adams Drugs employees deliver top-notch service. We ask you to visit us at any of our locations in Montgomery, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, and Pine Level Marbury and give us a chance to earn your business. You can find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Vaughan Road. You know, with over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Do you suffer every time you try to wear good-looking shoes, but you don't want to wear ugly shoes just because they're comfortable? The Good Feet store wants to help you wear heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort.
We're located at 7341 East Chase Parkway, and the shop's at East Chase. Now hiring.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
2026 marks 60 years that hope has had a home in Alabama. At the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches, children who've lost everything through no fault of their own have found something priceless. A safe place to live, a loving Christian family, and the chance to simply be kids again. Here, boys and girls grow up surrounded by care, guidance, and faith, learning right from wrong, learning responsibility, learning they are valued and that their lives have purpose. As the Alabama Sheriffs have believed for 6 decades, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women. These former ranchers are now teachers, parents, business owners, and leaders, living proof that love, structure, and faith can change a life forever. As the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches celebrate 60 years of serving Alabama's children, you can help ensure the next child has the same chance. Learn how you can make a difference at alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. 60 years of building lives, and we're just getting started.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a series of storm-free days for the next several days. Tonight will be mostly clear, overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, look for plenty of sunshine with a high temperature right around 80 tomorrow. We'll be in the low to mid-80s on Friday, and nights will start to cool down. Thursday night down to the low 50s for the overnight low. But over the upcoming weekend, a touch of summer, 88 by Saturday, near 90 on Sunday, still mostly sunny. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray Publix.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Soldier Boy. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good afternoon, Joey.
What's on your mind?
Hey, I appreciate the elevator music now, man. I think I'm going up to the top floor to the penthouse, to deluxe apartment in the sky. 'Cause I'm moving on up.
Oh, I got a few for you, baby.
I finally got a piece of the pie.
Yeah, oh,
I'm
absolutely.
moving on up.
Well, I could have come in with this one. You want to go dancing?
Oh yeah, disco baby, get a roller skate, roller skate, baby, roller skate. Let me get it out of the closet, baby. My goodness, Joe, you're going retro, baby. I love it. Hey, I wanted to talk about Dr. Oz and the Medicare scam that's going on in California. It's amazing. They say that 1/3 of all it's not Medicare. What is it? It's
hospice.
Hospice care places are in the state of California. Half of them, okay? And of that half, 1/3 of them are in the city of Los Angeles.
Something like that, yeah.
And like Dr. Oz, how many people are freaking dying in Los Angeles? I know they got a gang problem over there, but good God, it's not like it's Chicago. Maybe Chicago should have. I'm surprised Chicago don't have more because they have so many murders every weekend in Chicago. But my main question would be asked, Joey, is how long have people known about it? How far have they known about it? And why did it come to this point to finally somebody do it? That almost tells me that had Kamala been in there, it would have continued on.
Yes, and I think it shows the moral rot of that place. And Oz went on in this thing they did this afternoon to say they suspect half of all fraud in the federal government will be in health services, which makes a lot of common sense to me because people don't want to take away health services. So fraudsters are like, oh, perfect cover. Perfect way to launder money.
Do you know how cheap Medicare and hospice could be if we didn't have all this fraud?
Yep, and that's another point Vance made, is like everybody's going to scream and cry that we're hurting these programs. Like, no, we're trying to strengthen and save these programs.
Exactly for the people that need it, and so they don't get, deep in debt and have to file, for Chapter 15 and bankruptcy every time because of the medical bills and everything. But here's what's that website, Joey, that you can bet on if an alien's going to touch down and you can bet on anything?
Polymarket.
Yeah. I tell you one thing. Put your money on Trump taking care of business next week, because as soon as he's done with China, he's going to have a talk with China. What's his name?
Xi Jinping or whatever.
Mr. Ping. He's going to have a talk to Mr. Ping and tell him flat out, you better tell your boys to follow along or we're going to have a major problem. I guarantee it. It's not going to happen because he's going to use that as leverage. He's not going to do anything till he gets back from China. Agree?
Yes, I think that's exactly right. And we'll see what the Chinese are willing to give, because this has got to get wrapped up.
Oh, it's hurting China, first of all. I mean, they're losing. That's their number one priority for getting oil, isn't it?
It's one of their, main areas. They get a lot from Russia now, too.
Yeah, but I heard the quality is not so good. It's kind of dirty oil, Russia. But
Sure.
You know what? Russia has problems. But that's the main thing. I bet as soon as he gets back from China, he tells him, here's the rules. You got some connections. You better tell your boys to chill out and go along with what we said, or boom, we're going to take care of business ourselves. And then let me tell you something. When he bombs that little island with all those refineries, you don't think that's going to kill China? My God. First of all, you had a chance of getting the oil back flowing to your country. Now, because of your neglect, or you don't want to play ball with us, and suddenly now you don't get jack for years, dude. It's going to take years to put those back together. When he's going to hit so hard, it's going to be years before they build back those places.
Well, and
Agree?
I do agree, but I think Iran's a sideshow compared to what this trip is. If you look at the amount of people that were on Air Force One with Trump, from Elon Musk to Tim Cook to Jensen Huang of Nvidia, Larry Fink of BlackRock, the head of Boeing, Qualcomm, GE Aerospace, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, this comes across like they're going to do some big economic reorder. Very well could be if you get a deal on AI chips and like all sorts of stuff that's in the ether. This could be a massive agreement.
Like a bargaining, basically. Let's negotiate. Let's talk. I tell you one thing, nobody's talking too much about, but a little bit, the squeeze that he's putting on Cuba and their Communist Party. My God.
Oh, by the way, did you see Rubio's traveling clothes trolling Maduro?
Yes.
Yeah, where he wore the this tracksuit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cuba is a mess already as it is, infrastructure-wise and everything, and their power grid and everything, to be. But now to cut up, I mean, that's the only place they get their oil from. I heard that's not their majority. It's their only place they get their oil from. They're not getting it from us because we got embargoes on them, right?
Oh, they're feeling the squeeze, and Trump's saying yesterday, I believe he's saying he's going to be talking to the Cubans.
Now, here's the problem about Iran. The major problem about it is, okay, we should have been like the CIA should have snuck weapons in to those people. It's going to be hard to overthrow when the people that have guns have already killed 20, 30,000 people, and they've shown that I have no problem pulling a target, okay? And they got plenty of bullets and plenty of guns, okay? So it's going to be hard to overthrow the people, even if the people want to overthrow, because they don't have the possibilities of doing that. Didn't the CIA snuck weapons into Afghanistan so they could fight the Russians? Didn't they not?
They did.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Why can't we sneak in weapons into Iran?
I'm pretty sure we have, but also I think the Kurds don't trust us anymore. For good reason.
Well, I think it's just the opposite. I think they trust us because they came to us and said, hey, we can help you out, but we didn't want to take their help because we don't trust them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it has more to do with the Kurds they'll take our weapons, but they're not going to do marching orders to go march into Iran anytime soon.
In other words, if we supply you with the weapons, you're not going to do what we tell you to do with them.
Right. And no, it looks like, I don't know, like who knows what they're doing behind the scenes and all sorts of little rat lines to get weapons in there, but it's clearly a mess.
What was that movie with Tom Cruise when he snuck in the weapons when was it Colonel Ollie North was involved in sneaking weapons into the
Iran-Contra?
South America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the movie.
They snuck weapons. No, that's somewhere it was in a South American country. They were sneaking weapons into the rebels and dropping them off and to do their dirty work to overthrow the drugs. Remember, that was during Reagan's times, during Say No to Drugs.
Yeah.
We didn't want to get involved in it, so we're giving weapons to the rebels so they can take care of the drug dealers, and that was a cluster F too. I tell you.
And stuff like that's going on all the time, man.
I know that's sad, but why? I just hope they're helping weapons-wise to the people. I mean, you can't overthrow that government. I mean, could we overthrow a government if we didn't have weapons? That's why the Second Amendment is so important of the Constitution.
Amen.
That's why if we didn't have guns like that, we'd have the same government situation once the Democrats and the progressives and liberals took over the Senate and everything in Congress. Then they're going to say, oh, we're going to do that, and we're going to do that, and we couldn't fight back, and that's what our forefathers did, didn't they? Give us that Second Amendment for the right to protect the tyranny from an unruly government.
That is a big part of it, yeah, especially from their own experience.
Yeah, it wasn't to protect from invading countries; it was to protect us from within, right?
Within and without. Also, they thought militias would be pretty good for, and it's still true, despite our massive military and technological military. Invading the United States, given the amount of guys that can, shoot from a few hundred yards away, it would be a big mistake.
I know that. I tell you one thing: it would be hard for the government to try to take over the South because everybody in the South just pretty much has a good load of weaponry, more than other locations.
Well, and heck, even like
in the back of the pickup.
Even folks that aren't big into firearms as they got older, I think everybody who grew up here has got some experience of shooting a little bit. So it's just kind of a rite of passage.
Well, I go every time I go to the Alcazar. They have the gun show like every other month or every month they have. You go in there, and you know what? My friends and I will go in there, and we'll start a little tipsy, and we'll ask you, how many Democrats are in here? Because you all for gun control, but you guys are packing heat everywhere you go. These Democrats, but they want to get rid of our weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You would think the old attitude that there's only going to be Republicans and conservatives in here buying at this gun show. Bull crap. Democrats got money, and they're spending it too, baby, and they're buying guns.
Yes, they are. Well, I got to run, man. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, sir.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services and their Pest Pro Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. Go ahead and get signed up. Monthly subscription. They'll come out to your place on a regular basis, make sure they don't even have to go inside. And the place is going to be jam up and jelly tight, as the song says. You're not going to see all those nasty little critters in there. And maybe you want to add to like that basic package, like a mosquito plan. Get rid of the mosquitoes. Maybe enjoy spending time outside on the front porch or in the backyard, and you don't want to get eaten up as you're trying to enjoy yourself. Well, they can help you there at Pest Pro, take care of that. And, of course, they have termite services and wildlife control services. Should a little critter try to make a home out of your home, don't let them do it. Pest Pro can stop them, can get them out of there. So check out Pest Pro Services today. You can always learn more at ppsriverregion.com or just search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell them Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey, Biscuits fans, make Wednesdays a night to remember with 334 nights at Davos Park. Fans can enjoy $3 hot dogs, $3 peanuts, and $4 craft beer cans while cheering on the Biscuits. It's fun, affordable, and the perfect midweek escape. Get your tickets at biscuitsbaseball.com or call 323-BALL. Butter up!
When it comes to your mortgage, who you work with matters. And this is one decision where local makes all the difference. Don't fall victim to flashy mailers, spam calls, or 1-800-lenders who don't even know your name, much less your neighborhood. Those lenders are often sitting in some faraway state, reading from a script, and chasing volume, not relationships. A local lender understands the market you live in, or should I say that we live in. At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can look at us in the eye and trust us with one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. Local lenders don't disappear after closing day. Our reputation is built right here, one family at a time. So before you pick up the phone and call a stranger, remember us, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon at Alabama Home Mortgage. You deserve guidance from someone who knows the community because they're a part of it. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. You know, I forgot to say at the beginning of the show, I just realized, folks, thank God for another beautiful day. It's been an all right show, but there can sometimes be beauty and some honest mediocrity. But I definitely forgot to say Montgomery needs a new mayor. Just tried to make that a point to say that every day on the air, at least. But thank God I remembered. And again, thank God for another beautiful day. This part of the program brought to you by Prattville Carpet. And there at Prattville Carpet, not only can they help you with carpeting, which they're very good at, or even cut you a brand new area rug. They also have traditional hardwood, luxury vinyl plank. Don't forget the epoxy floorings look great on a garage floor instead of that concrete slab. Or maybe you want to do it in the kitchen or leading out from the back porch patio area into the yard. A lot of cool options there. Or perhaps you want to lay down some ceramic tile in the kitchen or the bathroom. They can help you across the board. It's just as easy as calling up Prattville Carpet at 285-8117. Again, that's 285-8117. They'll come out, do a free in-home measurement. You pick out the product you want to lay down for the resurface job, and it gets finished. Just that easy. So check out Prattville Carpet today, and be sure to tell them when you call them at 285-8117 that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. So we learned there's a lot of fraud in the federal government today. We learned that the cover-up during COVID was very real, but, well, perhaps it's too late to actually hold anybody accountable. which in a way seems like a very perverse power game being played right now, as we were talking about with Papa B. Heard a little bit from Jared Hudson. Learned a little bit more from Jeff Poore about what's going to happen with the redistricting and like the 2-3 day window where people have to qualify for the brand new special elections coming up in August. So we learned a few things. I didn't quite get into like the miserable wives of AI or the wild, wild world of training AI. Apparently a lot of folks who are losing jobs, and the only job available in certain parts of the country is training artificial intelligence. And it sounds like hell to me. Maybe we'll have to get to that tomorrow. But of course, Greg Budell's coming up, happy hour. It should be a happy hour, I suppose. And Trump's in China. I haven't heard any big headlines yet, anything big and breaking coming out of China. But, well, I'm sure something will come out, given the amount of people he took over there. Anyway, y'all stay tuned. Happy hour with Greg. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.